right. Peace to the family, man. I know we starting late and a day late, but we're not a dollar short, man. So let's go ahead and start with the intros. All right, my name is Brandon B. Dixon, MLS 1541210 at BNL on all social media, especially YouTube. Go ahead, like, subscribe, tell a friend, so on and so forth. Then we'll go from there. Go to my website, www.applywithb.com. If you want to go ahead and start a mortgage application or book me for a consultation, call me 832-775-8357. You call me 24/7. Also, it's at BNL Loan Officer, like I said, on all social media. You contact me at www.brandonbdixon.com if you want to lease, you want to finance, you want to list, so on and so forth. And last but not least, we got the COCinvestmentclub.com. We want to mitigate your risk. All right, Corey, I got you set up. Boom.
Corey Smith, broker, owner of Commodore Mortgage. Give us a call for all your real estate needs.
Gotcha, man. We kind of bridge that intro, man, because we're gonna get started. I got clips like I've been holding on deck for a couple of weeks, and so because I think we missed last week. So I got clips from last week. I got clips from this week. So we're going to run through as many as we can real quick. React. I got one already cocked and loaded. I wanted to get to this one last week. But shoot. I think, I like to end on the positive, but I think this was my positive one from last week. So let's go ahead and get it started, man. Without further ado, man, we're just going to go ahead and get straight into it.
Oh yeah, you already know.
Why this loud? Come close to this. Look at this real quick. What is this? Diamonds? What is it supposed to be?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool.
Come on.
What made you come up with this? Like, what made you say I want my car to shine like that?
Man, listen, man. I already knew what we was. We in Miami, man. You know what I'm saying? What the loudest do it, the loudest.
You've been in Miami a month.
Yeah.
And now you already on time.
Oh, we already on time. Just about a year for my birthday, getting it wrapped the same color and everything. So.
I still don't understand what you do. I'm getting money, but I just don't understand what you do, though.
I got you. I sell to women, bro. Beauty products. Beauty products.
As a man, what makes you want to tap into that lane?
Because women spend the most money in this country. The average woman spends $4,000 a year on beauty products. So that's more than anybody spending anything. And remember, there's a lot of women in this world, bro. Volume is everything.
Hold on. Come look at this.
Listen, you can't.
Everybody can't see that, but hold on. So you ain't playing games.
I'm saying
you got half a ticket on you, don't you?
Oh, you already know it.
Excuse me,
you can't even know the bag. We
okay,
stay with
cool.
it.
Okay, cool.
It's different.
And
e-commerce.
And the thing is, though, you come from nothing, right?
100%, bro.
You come from nothing. So what they get? A lot of people, their minds don't even get to a point where they're like, I can make this possible.
Come on.
What did it take for you to be like, nah, this is possible?
Man, all I had to do is see one person. I had to see one person. I didn't care about the skin color or nothing. Put me in a room with the billionaires. I guarantee you. Put us at $300. Start. I guarantee you I'll hit $1 million before they do. Only because my energy, my confidence is on $1 million.
So you feel like confidence is more important than strategy?
100%. Confidence will sell a room. Think about it. Louis Vuitton, something like this, $10,000. Yep. But you can go get something like this from somewhere else for like $5. What's the difference? Louis Vuitton said you're gonna pay me because I want you to pay me this much. That's how much I'm worth. How much you worth.
So you gotta know your worth, in other words.
100%.
You know your worth.
100%.
That's fire, bro.
So and that's why I charge certain prices for people businesses.
What's the most you charge somebody to build it?
$250,000.
What did they make?
$780,000.
In how long?
In the first 5 months. That's a partnership with me though. So that's a cheat code.
That's
but 10,000 you start there, bro. So
that's saying? Crazy. And like I said, I ain't gonna lie, I'm one of the people. I'm getting money. We both millionaires. Come my thing is too. It's still people I can learn from you. You can learn from me. 100%. A lot of people feel like they're not coachable. I think everybody thinks they know shit.
100%.
Everybody thinks they know everything, but in reality, we know nothing. Do you feel like you know everything, even in your position?
Hell no, bro. I always need more. You know what I'm saying? I always can require more lessons. And when you run into kings, you bless them.
I love. What you talking about? What you talking about?
The 10 piece, bro.
What the heck? For what?
Come on, you my guy, brother. And listen, when kings approach other kings, it ain't about the wealth that you have or I have. You give kings gifts. You know what I'm saying?
That's major, brother. I gotta get you something now.
Come on.
See what type of vest you want now, brother. Yeah, I'm that type. Type.
Hey, figure it out, bro. It don't matter, bro.
I
you know what I'm saying? Anything is a blessing.
It's hard, y'all. Look at this shit. Come look at the car real quick, y'all. Damn, that's hard. That shit is bright. What's good, bro?
What's good, baby?
Good to see.
All right, bam. I'll let you go and relax. Before you react, let me go ahead. Everybody viewing live, man, go ahead, comment. We'll read the comments live, man. So go ahead, comment, like, hit the like button, man. We need the algorithm to catch us. So go ahead, hit that like button, so on and so forth, man. But I'll go ahead and let you comment on that while I set up the next clip.
I love the fact, you know what I'm saying, you know, essentially, you know what I'm saying, he was able to bless the other brother, you know what I'm saying, with the funds. I like the way, you know what I'm saying, that he actually created a business. He wasn't working for somebody else, you know what I'm saying. He was an entrepreneur, could actually work for himself and call the shots or whatever the case may be. The one thing I don't like so much is the flashiness, you know what I'm saying? Like, what was the need to pull out half a ticket, you know what I'm saying, in cash and all this other stuff, you know what I'm saying? And then somebody else sees that and somebody else runs up on him and then want to jack him, you know what I'm saying? And all this could have been avoided if you just go about your way, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you got money like that, you know what I'm saying, there's no necessarily need, it's not necessarily a need to actually carry it around like that. I don't know what for I guess for the gram, maybe you need to be carrying money around like that. I guarantee you, I'm saying Jay-Z is probably not carrying money around like that. Kanye West is probably not carrying money around like that. Like cats, you know what I'm saying, that have a bunch of money is not necessarily feeling the need to feel socially acceptable by doing stunts like that. If you got money, you know what I'm saying, I don't think it's necessarily a need to actually go out and blast it, or, you know what I'm saying, try to get acceptance, or, you know what I'm saying, have people understand what your status is. There's also another kid that does it similar. There's another kid that does the exact same thing. He runs up on millionaires everywhere. And the millionaires he actually runs up on, I haven't seen one interview where somebody pulled out $500,000 in cash, just to point out. They pull up in the badass cars. They got the nice suits or just regular outfits or whatever the case may be. They're able to tell you they have money, but they don't have to necessarily show it to you as if they're trying to prove something. So anyway, you know what I'm saying? It kind of goes back to Frank Lucas, you know what I'm saying? The loudest one in the room is the weakest one in the room. So I appreciate him and I applaud that brother, you know what I'm saying, for being able to make the money. But I just don't like the way, you know what I'm saying, he's approaching being able to give knowledge and just approaching trying to teach the younger generation how to get money.
Right. Like I said, I mean, that's the thing. A couple of things. I like his strategy. He has the market. Women's beauty supplies. That's definitely a market that we've been tapped out of. It's crazy because we, consume a lot of that. I think we spend the most because of the hair aspect of it, because we're the only one that wear like wigs constantly and weave constantly. So we spend a lot of money on hair products and hair.
And get it changed every week.
Get it changed every week. And we don't have that market. We're not selling to our own. The Asians own that market. So just him tapping into that, you can see like this the money, just him getting a little portion of the actual market share. He's able to live that type of lifestyle. I think the problem with us is that it's almost like a new kid with a new toy. We get overstimulated and we don't know how to act when we get money. It's a new thing to us, so we got to show it. We got to wear it. We got to get that. We go into that respect, get that respect from the money. Like, I went through that stage myself. I mean, young, if you're in the 20s, I went through that in the 20s and early 30s. You want that instant gratification as a person in this society, with melanin in our skin. Unfortunately, people stereotype you and you don't get the certain respect. So people substitute that money and that bling to get the garner a certain respect, to try to use that as a cheat code. And it's still like like you said, to certain people, you're looking like a Thanksgiving dinner, for whether it be gold diggers or jackers or whatever, and then the people that really got wealth, you're looking like a mascot. You're looking kind of crazy wearing all these designer brands, and it doesn't really impress anybody that really got money, So it's for, I guess, to garner the respect that they want to get so much, and then the dopamine hit. We dopamine addicts. It's the dopamine of getting the looks at the car, getting the looks at the watch, the big eye, you got to have a it's the dopamine hit that people looking at and starving for. So that's why they do that. Once you get past that, then you go ahead. I'd rather peace of mind than anybody looking at me. I don't like that attention anymore. I'd rather just just be left alone. But again, you got to mature and get to that stage. Don't forget, men we got to learn from experience. So I get where he at. I mean, at least he's making the play to live out his dreams and do what he want. So he came up with a business strategy to do that. A lot of people don't pursue. They're too scared to actually do anything about anything. And they kind of live minuscule lives, doing minuscule tasks, and making a lot of people a lot of money. So at least he's jumped in that water as an entrepreneur.
Yep. And
did his things and seen the fruits of his labor. So I can applaud him on that, and I applaud him on, you got to give to receive. So a lot of people want to take. My mentor always used to say, you got to make a deposit before you make a withdrawal. So let's go into the next clip, man. This is a controversial one. I know you've seen this one going viral. I know we're a little bit late, but I think this was from last week. So these are some of the last week clips.
I'm about to say, what we talking about? Shay Sharp?
No, Black. Nobody gives a fuck about that. Kill that shit. Ow. Either you got a good business or you don't. All that shit, don't nobody want to hear that shit. That's a hustle. Support me because I got a black business. Is your restaurant clean? Is the food good? Do you got consistent cooks? Is the material on your shit good? Stop doing that. Oh, you support the white people? No, I support consistency, baby. Yeah. Well, fuck about what color you is. I'm gonna spend my money. That paper, I'm gonna spend them bills where the fuck I want to spend it at. Whether it's Porsche, Ferrari, Land, I'm gonna do what the fuck I want to do while I'm here. But I'm gonna tell you one thing, I ain't gonna be finessed off some black shit. But one thing about it, 70% of you motherfuckers is not going to make it. I'm not no motherfucking fake ass motivational speaker that talk this dumb shit. I'm the #1 nigga in the country. You know why? Y'all seen me come out of the penitentiary. I make millions and I make millionaires, baby. You understand? Us. Oh.
Talk that talk, Wallow.
What you think? Well, I thought the next.
I think it's 100% true. You know what I'm saying? That in a lot of situations, you know what I'm saying, black owned companies feel entitled.
Right.
It's like, you know what I'm saying, you own a business. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should run it as a business. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even though you have your own people that's supporting you, you know what I'm saying? Like, you still have to give a great service or a good service, even for that matter. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times we pull up to black-owned businesses, you know what I'm saying, and they own some nigga shit. And it's just like, you know what I'm saying, you want me to actually come back. And if the business doesn't make it, guess what they say? You know what I'm saying? Man, our people don't support our own people, right? Because, you know what I'm saying, you feel like just because it's a black-owned business, people are supposed to come. Disregard the fact, you know what I'm saying, the waitresses was terrible. Disregard the fact that your waitresses and waiters are finessing people out of 30% tips because they don't tell you about the automatic gratuity, because that's the new game now. Like, just disregard all that stuff, you know what I'm saying? Just, black people don't support black people. You know what I'm saying? That's what you chalk it up to. So I'm 100% with Wallow, you know what I'm saying? Just because it's a black-owned business, I'll give you a shot. I ain't got no problem with that. I'll give you a shot. But if you fuck that shot up, you know what I'm saying, and like terribly fuck it up, then, you know what I'm saying, you have nobody to blame but yourself. You know what I'm saying? Next time I'm going somewhere else. I'm not coming back to throw my money away just because it's a black-owned business. So I think Wallow speaks a hell of a lot of great knowledge and shit that makes sense. It's going to ruffle some feathers. Oh, absolutely, it's going to ruffle some feathers because you have your people out there, you know what I'm saying? Your people that say, man, you know what I'm saying, regardless of what you get in your service, you need to support your own black people. But you're not spending your own money. That's fine to say, but you know what I'm saying, you're not spending your own money on these terrible businesses. You're not spending your own money on the restaurant that come out and the food is dirty, the food has hair in it or whatever the case may be. The waitresses barely come check on you, barely come bring you refills on drinks. Takes 30, 45 minutes for your food to come out, whatever the case may be. That part doesn't matter to them, but it matters to me. So at the end of the day, you spend your money however you want to spend it, but I'm with Wallow. If you don't have no consistency, I'm not spending my money with you. I don't give a damn who owns the business.
Right. I think you gotta, I ultimately, I'm going to start at the end and then let's backtrack. I ultimately agree. However, you got to look at the root why this is, and I hate to say it. I hate to bring politics in it. This is what y'all have been sold. Y'all have been sold by the boys in blue, the Dems, that everything is victimhood, and I am at a lesser plane. I have a lesser. I have less opportunities. So with that being said, they got to play the victim card. And automatically fold into that position instead of trying to compete on a level. I gotta become like Jay said. I gotta be the tallest midget. You're automatically the tallest midget. So you automatically putting yourself into a subclass. Why not just be the best business? Why not just be the best restaurant? Why does it have to be a black-owned restaurant? Why compete in that particular realm? Why not just be the best overall? So if you played it with that mind state, like that frame of mind, like I'm gonna just be the best, period, then you will have the outstanding customer service instead of worrying about, hey, listen, at least I tried. Look, I got a restaurant. Yeah, you should do something because there ain't no other black restaurant. That's the wrong approach, and I think we got that marketing from a certain party, and that's been rampant in our particular community for quite a while. I would say going on 75 years, maybe 100 years now. Back in the 20s and the Greenwood days, we had a little bit more get up. Hey, listen, we had our own, but let's just go ahead, let's be the best at it. Whatever we had, let's be the best. So that mind frame of, all right, I want to be the best in the subsect. Not even the best. I just because I'm in the subsect, I'm in this box. You should do business with me because I'm in this box, and I check this box, the DI stuff. All right, I'm this, so I should get an opportunity. So that's where this came from. So that particular mindset, this the diversion, equity, and the inclusion, mind state. So that's my kind of take on that. Like, it's that marketing that we've been sold instead of this a meritocracy where the best wins, no matter what it is. You got to be the best at it, and hard work over everything. That's we need to bring that back. And I'm hoping we get that back soon. Instead of worrying about getting brownie points because of your skin color. That's dumb.
Well, here's the thing, is that 100%, understand that, right? We should have a point where, our business caters to anybody, right? But in marketing, you're always talking about, what is the crowd that you're going towards, right? What's the age group? What's the age group that you're going towards? What's the culture? Where is your target audience, so to speak? So, I don't think necessarily anybody goes in saying that, we're not going to accept anybody. We're not going to accept a certain class. We're not going to accept a certain amount of people or whatever the case may be. I don't think people go into business thinking that. But if you're going into business and you're marketing, there's a certain type of atmosphere that's going to cater to a certain type of audience. So, you can't necessarily say every single business you have to actually, market towards everybody. Because in certain businesses, so for example, if you have a club that's playing R&B and hip hop, like you have to narrow down who your audience is in order to succeed. It's not that you're not accepting everybody, but you have to know who your target audience is. If you have a country bar, you have to know who your target audience is. You're going to accept everybody, come along, but who's going to keep the doors open? Who's going to keep revenue coming in? That target audience is who I'm catering towards. So I'm not necessarily saying that, any black business is bad because they're catering towards black people. But all I'm saying is that if you're going to cater towards black people, don't just have a black person or, a terrible black person run business. Like, you should treat the black people the same way as if a white person walked in there or a Hispanic person walked in there or Indian person walked in there. Everybody should get the same treatment across the board. And that I don't feel like people get. I think because people figure, okay, well, this is my people's coming in here. The level of service doesn't have to be up. It doesn't have to be, 5-star. It doesn't have to be 4-star. I think people are just like, okay, well, look, we got automatic gratuity. We got the food over here high as giraffe pussy. And you know what I'm saying? We ain't giving them that much. So we going to get ours. Because you know what I'm saying? My people going to support me. And that's not the way business works. That's the part I have a problem with. Not necessarily, you know what I'm saying, the fact that they don't cater to everybody and their mama.
Well, I think you converge two different things. What I'm saying is not catering. I'm saying as far as being the best regardless of race. If I was a hip hop club and played R&B, I want to be the best hip hop club that's out there. If I was a country club, I wanted to be the best country club out there, regardless, of my marketing, but just being the best. So the mind frame of running the business shouldn't be dictated by who I'm, my identity or who I'm catering to.
Agreed.
That's my point is not the marketing. You could have an Asian restaurant like that, like they got in KV, Asian supermarket, and but however they're not just lowering their standard of service. They're not lowering their expectation just because they're Asian. They still want to be the best, so that's what I mean. It's like, this and not going just because, instead of putting the effort into service, using the excuse that, all right, well, you should support me regardless. That's what Wallow is saying. Like, so step the game up. Step your game up, go into the mind frame of hustle, and then the customer is going to come in. So it's the mind frame. That's what I'm talking about, the conditioning that I deserve something or I'm entitled to something just because I check a box. That mind frame needs to end. It should be hard work, and then I should see the fruit of my labor. It should be a meritocracy. That's what I'm saying. And I think we done got fooled and marketed to that we don't have to work as hard because our expectations are not as great for us. So and I think that's what we done got fooled. We got tricked. Like being the tallest midget. Nah, you got to be just as good, probably even colder. Nobody gonna give you anything. So,
and you shouldn't expect for anybody to give you anything.
Right.
You should be like, I'm saying, I'm the top restaurant or I'm the top mobile detail company, because I worked my ass off to be here. Well, I gave great customer service to be here.
Well, we didn't got food. We didn't think, all right, well, my food is banging, but everything else, the business ain't straight. Why your business ain't on the same level as Ruth Chris? Why your marketing ain't on the same level as Ruth Chris? Well, my food, my it tastes good, but that ain't good enough. It's the entertainer. Well, I got a manager for that. Nobody's gonna be your manager. Nobody's gonna take care of the business when you own the business. So we got to stop worrying about, all right, you got the talent, but we got to get on the business side. Business includes marketing and service.
Correct.
And you got to be elite at that, not just elite at the talent.
Service number one.
Right. I mean, it's all around business marketing. If your marketing strategy are black owned and that's it, you're going to lose. What about, getting better as far as waiting? What about training your waiting staff to do certain things? What about opening on time? What about the small things? My mentor used to say the small things are the big things.
Yep.
So we focus on, all right, I got some banging greens. That's cool.
That ain't gonna keep the people there. They ain't gonna keep the doors open. But see what I'm saying? What I feel like, a lot of restaurant owners don't understand is that, the taste of your food is only gonna go as far as the service that's being provided. Which shouldn't be, but honestly, it's the way it is. If somebody has to wait, 45 minutes to an hour for their food to come out, best believe when that food come out, their mind is already made up. Man, goddamn, this shit took forever for the food to come out. When they finally taste it, you could have the bangingest greens ever, the bangingest smothered pork chops ever, whatever the case may be. But now you've already pissed off. They already have an opinion about the experience. When that shit come out, they're gonna be like, man, this shit wasn't even worth this wait.
Right.
Regardless of how it tastes. It all starts with the service.
That's the thing. We've been flip-flop. We've been the talents for so long. All I got to do is sing. But who you gonna market to? What your budget gonna be? Who gonna produce it? We don't look at everything else. that it comes to business, and a lot of other nationalities look at everything else. They call it the business part. You know, they might not have the talent, but they call it the business part, and they make it just as much, probably more money than you because you got the talent.
Facts.
You know, so let's go to this next one here.
Having a payroll that was $250,000 a month. One of the mothers of my children, I remember, like, on 2 instances, I bought $1 million crib because that's what she was interested in.
Yeah.
And then I just, like, retrospect at 35, I'm like, nah, bro, your next go around when you run it back up, just focus on your goddamn stuff, bro. I retired my mom at 27.
Dope.
She been on my payroll since then. Me and my pops is business partners when it comes to our security company and our gun store.
Dope.
I done hired my brothers. Sometimes I had to fire my brothers. But the point is, I done all I can for the family.
Right.
Like, I done affected 3-4 generations at this point.
Yeah.
So I be telling myself that now, like, bro, this next run, bro, just focus on yourself. Just have fun, bro. Like, and my whole thing is this go around, I wanna buy more memories than material.
Yeah.
I want to take more trips. I want to go more places.
Yeah.
Like, it's like right now, bro, like, I got the biggest house in my neighborhood. I got the biggest yard.
Mm-hmm.
My mama got the second biggest house in the neighborhood because I bought her crib 2 doors down. Like, we done all the fly, but in the grand scheme of things, like, my children, they're gonna be like, yeah, man, you know, we had the biggest house. They're not gonna give a fuck about that in 30 years.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, remember that time dad encouraged us to jump off a mountain and we did it, or remember we went in a hot air balloon, or this and that, bro. So I'm with you, bro, 100%. Like, the ups and downs of it is a beautiful thing.
Like, yeah, and it comes to that about the family. Yeah. I retired my mom too right away when I got my money. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my Dukes. Still retired to this day. Mm-hmm. Always quote Dion. He said, my goal was to retire my mom, but the key is to keep her retired. You know what I'm saying? Don't get up. Hey, man, you gotta get out and go back.
Right.
Me, I'm like, whatever. I bought my brother a Hellcat.
Same
what
with
you
me,
want,
bro.
Mom? 10,000. I need 1,000. Man, here's 5. Like, I was acting dumb. I didn't care. I thought it never going to end. And then when I start going down, nobody check on me.
That's a fact,
nobody
bro.
said how you doing. You see, look different.
Bro, they're gonna talk about your ass if anything.
He thought he was on that.
Yeah.
What he at now?
Yeah.
Damn, what I do for you? Funerals paid for you,
bro.
You damn worried about me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it made me understand. Okay, focus on me and the people that surround me that's really with me like that. Yep. That's it. That's all. If you ain't with it, kid. You know what I mean? But those memories, boy, you tapped on something.
Yeah.
All that material don't matter. My memories is skydiving over goddamn Honolulu. Right, you know what I'm saying? In Switzerland and the Swiss Alps. You know what I mean? Eating caviar. You hear me? Off of, you know what I'm saying? Like that type is where it's at. Hot air balloon. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Getting smooches in hot air balloons. Yeah. That's forever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We got blessings. We can document it now.
That's a fact.
So and taking my nieces and nephews to goddamn Disneyland, the whole family.
Right.
They remember Uncle Jarvis for that.
Right.
They don't remember me buying them stuff. That's cool. But they're like, oh, Uncle Jarvis, you took me to see Mickey Mouse.
Right.
Those memories. That's so important, bro.
I remember having a payroll that was $250,000.
All right, I'll give you first stab at it.
A lot of times we get it wrong. You know what I'm saying? But as they talk about, you know what I'm saying, it's the evolution of life, right? You know what I'm saying? Never had money, family never had money. You finally run into some money, you know what I'm saying? And then all you want to do is just spoil the people around you. That's the number one thing. It's the same, it's similar to a parent to a child, right? You know what I'm saying? You have your child, you love your child to death. It's unconditional love, you know what I'm saying? All you want to do is give them the world. But is that the best thing for them? Is that the best thing for them in order to kind of succeed in life? And the one thing, you know what I'm saying, the one bad thing that you could ever do is become a crutch. Become a crutch for not only your children, but anybody. Family, mom, dad, whatever the case may be. The last thing that you want to do is become a crutch for them. The biggest gift that you can give anybody is independence. There's a lot of athletes that go out here, you know what I'm saying? I'm the first one to actually make it. So I feel entitled, or I feel the responsibility to take care of my family. I feel responsibility to take care of first cousin, second cousin, third cousin, because I don't want them to think that I changed. I want to bring everybody along with me, and everybody can't go on a ride. And it's unfortunate that, you know what I'm saying, so many athletes, so many people run into money and they get to a certain status and they have to run into the point where, you know what I'm saying, the money starts to go away or it's not flowing as much as it used to. And then you start to figure out who your real family is, who your real friends is. And they're not who you think they was. For shit sure. Because when you're at your lowest, that's when you find out who your real peoples are, who your real ones are. And I guarantee you, know what I'm saying, on the payroll that you had, It ain't a lot of them that's on the payroll that's actually riding. Now, here's the thing. Don't put them on payroll. Allow them to be independent. If you want to go on a family vacation and you want to pay for the family vacation, cool. That's a one-time expense. But having a monthly check that you send it to them every single month, so all they have to do is sit on their ass, and they chose that time to do nothing, not even learn a trade or learn any way to get money on their own, you absolutely became a crutch, and you did worse for them than what you thought you were actually doing. So, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot to take from this because, again, as another example, as an actual parent, the memories is what children is going to remember. They're going to Disney World, going to Switzerland, going to Europe, going to China, whatever the case may be. That's the stuff that they're going to remember. If I'm a father, you know what I'm saying, I'm never there. I just send a check every single month. Oh, those Jordans that you had on every single month. Or the Louis Vuitton outfit that you had on every single week. Whatever the case may be, you know what I'm saying? If you think that's going to substitute the memories or the time that you actually spent with somebody, yeah, you're surely mistaken. But I think, you know what I'm saying, eventually, as they talk about the evolution, you get to the point where you mature and you start to understand that the memories is more better and more valuable than the materials. But it's unfortunate that people have to go through that evolution. Some people can't learn from the learning curve of other people. But the biggest thing at the end of the day, once people, unfortunately, after people hit rock bottom and then they start to run it back up, they start to understand a little bit better because now they're seeing through a clearer lens. You weren't seeing through a clear lens at first. The only thing you saw is that I don't want nobody to talk about me. I don't want nobody to think that I'm acting different or I done changed because I got money or whatever the case may be. So you trying to take care of everybody and their mama. And unfortunately, you're doing more disservice to yourself than you're doing help for them. So 100%, you know what I'm saying, what they saying makes sense.
Right. I mean, I got some of a take. Yeah, I mean, first of all, like I said, we don't have a instruction manual on how to be a man and how to grow up this thing. You know, a lot of our fathers were either absent or they didn't know themselves. You know, so, you know, you got a lot of, and then we living in a different age altogether than when our parents and grandparents grew up. So the times are changing. So that's the difference. My old theory is everybody makes mistakes. The difference between men and boys is that men learn from their mistakes. You know, so it's a matter of experiencing, realizing that fire is hot and then adjusting accordingly. You know, so I think boys and you know, lesser men keep making the same mistake of keep sticking their hand in that fire, seeing if it's going to be cold this time. You know, so that's the difference. So I'm saying that to say this. That was the setup. That yeah, I made the same mistake thinking, all right, I get my daughter material items and, you know, work. Didn't have time. Before I knew it, she's graduating college. You know, graduating high school. You know, so the time goes quickly, you know, so the memories wasn't there, but the money was there, you know. So I'm thinking that, you know, you don't know until you know, like, you know, the money is the bottom line, you know, because we forced to be a wallet, you know, our values reduced to a wallet, you know, in this modern time. You don't realize our value until, you know, you learn later on that, you know, it's the knowledge, the provision, the protection, all that stuff, all that's part of the package, you know. So with our kids, but like, you know, you don't learn that until you learn it, till you in it, till you hit your head, till you stick your hand in the fire. Lastly, I want to wrap up with this, like, as far as the family, I made deals, like, you know, I think I took this from Rick Ross, but I was doing the same thing anyway. You know, I made deals with the family, like, all right, I'll invest in your business, but if I invest in this business, hey, I give you a jump, but it's up to you to keep the car running. You know, so I invest in this business, and once you theoretically, if you do 110 in this business, you shouldn't have to ask me for anything anymore. So I invest this one time, but I need you to take that and keep the car running. You know, that's how I did with my daughter's mom and stuff like that. I invest in your business, but that's it. That's a wrap after this. You know, try to do the same thing with my daughter, but that ain't work. She's still in some bread. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's how I try to do. I'm trying to make deals. Like, all right, look, I get you the barber salon. The beauty salon. I get you this. You know, I invest in this. But you got to, That's you then. You know, I don't want no part of it. I don't want to cut. Just don't ask me for nothing. After that, you know, that's how I try to do because as the money come in, and that's another thing, you just can't let them know is the art of silence. That's another thing. Try to stop being flashy. You know, so that way you don't know if they don't know if you're holding or not. You don't know. They don't know if you got it or not.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I learned though too. You know, stop weighing it. Stop weighing your wealth. You know, so they don't know. You know, so the thing about it, our grandfathers, you know, and our dad. Well, let's say our grandfather. I don't know about our dad. Our grandfather. The reason why they always were stable because they didn't flash as much as we flashed. They didn't have the all the expenses we had. You know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's why they was able to have money in their pocket.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's the thing. Is like, all right, who you trying to flash for? You know, so let's go ahead to this next one. This more, I got a couple of real estate ones in there too. So the premise, I had to get them off real quick.
All right.
Come with us to do a tenant move out. Now, before we get into it, I wanted to show you guys before because this tenant was the first tenant who ever lived in the property and everything was brand new. So when you see the clips, just know. You can't even make up the drastic difference between before these people were here and after, okay? Let's go to the bedroom. So they left furniture. Let's cut on the light. Again, look at the walls. This is someone's bedroom, okay? Their bedroom. And I'm going to put in, again, the before of this room. And look what they did. We ran these floors. We painted these walls. We framed. We pretty much did most of the work. Look at door off the hinges, right? Filthy. Couch. Destroyed this door. Out of the living room into the hallway. Oh, wait, look. Our door is completely broken. And then you open it, and it's a bunch of left behind trash, okay?
Wow.
This is insane. Now, I didn't show you guys the bedrooms before, but they were in clean condition. Blinds are down. And then you have more broken doors. I don't even know how a person does this. And it's a dirt. We got brand new appliances. Brand new. Looks like no one ever cleaned. The drawers are missing. Look at this. Okay. It's like they tried to clean up the bathroom, maybe. This is like, they honestly made a unit that we were trying to make as luxury as possible look like the projects, which is unbelievable. Unbelievable. We built this by hand, and this is what people do when they aren't appreciative of you giving them a chance, whether it's bad credit or a shaky background. Don't show people or give people a chance because they show you every time why you shouldn't.
Facts.
Let me take first crack at this. I think she's highly entitled. Welcome to being a landlord. If you don't want to deal with tenant moves out, don't become a landlord. You know, that's what wear and tear is. That's what your security.
That's what wear and tear is.
Yeah, I mean that's wear and tear. That's. It looked like they had kids swinging from the door, and
man, that's demolishing. That's demolishing an actual property. You know what I'm saying? That ain't no regular wear and tear.
I got some clips of the property like being demolished. This ain't really demolished. I mean, that looked like wear and tear to me. You know, so I mean,
Lord.
Look like a fresh coat of paint. Look like you need some doors and stuff like that. But that's what your security deposit for. You know, so I think my motto is this: entitled to nothing, grateful for everything. You know, I think this generation here is entitled to everything, grateful for nothing. You know, I think it's the opposite. So, are you're entitled to having the tenant leave it in spectacular condition? I know that's what they say they're gonna do, but however, the reality is not many tenants do that. So if you don't want this reaction or you don't want this outcome, don't become a landlord. You know, and I wanted to show this, like, because you know, her voice is like, you know, I get it that you know this is your first time. I get it that you put a lot into it. However, not this should be a lesson. You know, if you're going to rent it out, you need to use regular materials. You don't need to use luxury unless you're going to get luxury prices. Then if you get luxury prices, all right, that's what you're charging. You know, people paying luxury prices. You know, and you getting the fruit of them renting and paying your mortgage or paying whatever, and you getting the profit off of that. So you can't then turn around and say, "Look at this," and cry and complain about it. And when this is the business. This is the business. It's like me saying somebody I got own a restaurant and I complain about they got dirty dishes. Look how they that's the dishes dirty. They eat the food and then that's what they do. Don't own a restaurant if you don't want to clean the dishes. You know, that's just what it is. I'll serve people over paper plates. You know, but it's kind of the trend of this generation is that they want everything perfect and they want everything handed to them, and they want everything. They don't want to work for anything. Yeah, it's gonna be what's the work. You put it by hand, and I'll put it back together by hand. That's what this hold that security deposit, take that money, and put it back together by hand. That's what that's for. Hard work.
No way in hell, B. No way in hell is that regular wear and tear. You know what I'm saying? So here's a few things. If you want to talk about what she did incorrectly, you know what I'm saying? It's a first-time investor mistake. Get that. You know what I'm saying? Not entitlement. It's just a first-time investor mistake. What happens is, you know what I'm saying, is that you got your first rental property and you wanted to treat the rental property as if you were moving into it.
Correct.
And that was the problem. There's no way, you know what I'm saying, she'd have had them hardwood floors on there because it's not rental friendly. It's a lot of stuff that she had in there, you know what I'm saying? The stuff that happened on the wall. Okay, I get that. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? You got beds in there, you got the kids jumping in the bed, everybody parent a little different. Some people let their kids do whatever they want to do. The kicking of the door, because somebody kicked that door in. Somebody had a disagreement. Whatever it may be, somebody got pissed off and kicked that fucking door in, which is why the latch is undone and why the actual part of the hinge of the door or the frame of the door is actually broken because somebody kicked that in. That's not wear and tear. That's somebody demolishing the property. Well, that's somebody's name probably wasn't on it and they didn't care. So they were just like, my deposit ain't on the line, so I kicked this damn thing in. And that's right. Chances are that's what happened. The actual door that they actually put in there with the shutters on there. Why would you put a door with shutters on there? You know what I'm saying? So the other thing is this too, is that, you know what I'm saying, when you got the actual tenant, what did you actually look at? Did you look at the background? Did you do a background check? Did you do a criminal check? Did you look into the actual history of the actual tenant? Like, did you do your due diligence as a landlord? So what I see is a common mistake from a first-time landlord, not necessarily entitlement. You just picked the wrong tenant that came in there that put on that front in order to get in, and they messed your stuff up. And you're upset now because you put your love, heart, and soul into that property because you treated it as if you were moving in there, which was the big mistake. You have to treat an investment property as an investment property. It doesn't mean that, you know what I'm saying, you can't put nice things in there, but you have to put something in there that can withstand the demolishment and the regular hard treatment that tenants put on the actual property. Like, you know what I'm saying, you wouldn't go there and buy a car for a rental company and put rims on it. You put custom leather seats in there and everything else. And it's a rental car. You wouldn't do that for that. So why would you do that for a house? So if we want to talk about anything that she did wrong, it was just a common mistake that first time landlords have. That's all she did. But now that she learned from the mistake, how do you correct it? When she goes to put that house back together, she needs to be more conscious that this is an investment property. This is not a property that you're living in. You can't treat it as such, and you can't upgrade it as such.
And how do you not? The reason why I say it's entitlement to the end. I gave you a chance, and look how they do. That's what people do. You got to expect that. So, and the entitlement comes from she wanted them. She felt entitled for them to respect the property as she did, and that's not unrealistic. That's unrealistic. You know, most people that's renting, they're renting for a reason. They're not going to cherish or take care of the property like you would. It's your property, not theirs.
Well, you'll be surprised, B. You know what I'm saying? There's some tenants that have
absolute.
You know.
I'm not saying that it's absolute. I'm just saying in general. You know, most tenants are not going to treat it the same way if they own the house. It's like you don't treat a rental like you do that car that you worked so hard for. That was your dream car. You're not going to treat a rental the same way. It's human nature. You know.
Yeah.
So,
but it's the nature of the person too. You know what I'm saying? It's the nature of the person too. Because if they own the house, so like you know what I'm saying, we've all had the friends, or we all had somebody that we went over to their house and like, man, this shit is nasty. Like, how do y'all keep this house like this? You know what I'm saying? But it's a house that they may own. You know what I'm saying? It's just some people just live dirtier than others. Some people just live rougher than others.
Well, that's
just
what
the
I'm
way that
saying.
they do it.
You can't. The entitlement comes in when she expected a person to live like her, to treat it like hers. When you're dealing with as a business person, you got to understand that that this might happen. This is part of the process. Mm-hmm. So yes, I agree with you on the material. Like I said in the earlier comment, yes, that's the first mistake. However, the second mistake was your mind frame. You should know that somebody's not going to keep this up and have the buff the floors and keep it up like you would. They don't care. You know, it's a temporary fix for most of the time, and they're not supposed to. I don't expect them to.
Right. So I think we agree. I think we're agreeing on the same point. I think the only thing that we don't agree on is the word entitlement that you're using. Her expectations were incorrect for what she expected of a tenant. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But in entitlement, you know what I'm saying, doesn't necessarily mean I don't necessarily, you know what I'm saying, think she felt entitled, you know what I'm saying? I think her expectations was incorrectly. You know what I'm saying?
Entitlement means that she felt that they were obligated to do a certain thing. They weren't. They're not obligated to treat it like as if it was theirs. That's why they're tenants. That's why you charge a security deposit. In case you demolish my thing. In case in case this happens. That's why that's for. And yes, I agree that it exceeds normal wear and tear. That's what the security deposit is for. But I said I've seen a lot of wear and tear. The walls, again, is wear and tear. I think it's excessive with the doors. Yes, that's why I'm keeping your security deposit, because my doors are messed up and I'm gonna need to replace those. You know, so yes, but that's what that's for. That's in the contract. It's for stuff like this. So why do you feel and the inflection in her voice that wasn't going to happen? That's my point. You got to be prepared for that, and this is what this show is about. Like, as a landlord, you got to expect the worst, but plan for the best. Plan for the worst, but expect the best. So if the worst happens, you already planned for it. So why? What is the? Oh my God! What is that about?
The my God is because, you know what I'm saying, her expectations were completely messed up.
Why would you expect that? Why would you expect that out of somebody you don't know? Supposedly, I don't know all the story, but if they knew the person, I can understand if that was your cousin or something like that, and you told your cousin take care.
I couldn't even understand if it's your cousin, you know what I'm saying, because that's the last person you're supposed to lease to.
Well, I'm just saying,
your cousin's gonna treat you shit worse than anybody.
But
but I get what you're saying. But
all All right, let's go to the next one. We disagree.
Yeah, because you know what I'm saying. I just think her expectations, the way she approached it, you know what I'm saying, was like a first time landlord. That's all I gotta say.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
that's my
it was like a first time landlord. But you know what I'm saying, it's a learning curve. It's the exact same thing. You know what I'm saying? It's the exact same thing as we talked about with the previous video with the money, right? You know what I'm saying? You get the money, you have a certain mindset, but then you know what I'm saying, when you go down, you have a learning curve, and then when you come back up, you know what I'm saying, you're treating shit completely different. I think it's going to be the same thing for her. But you know what I'm saying, it's not entitlement though. I
think it's entitlement, and the reason why I think it's entitlement is because, first of all, I'm teaching people that might be future landlords, don't expect, don't have your expectation on a tenant is going to have the same standard of living as you. I don't know why you would expect that, and then I don't expect them to have the property pristine. That's what your security deposit is for. Security deposit is in the title. It's security, and you're gonna deposit my money in case something happens. And if it do happen, I'm keeping that deposit for my security.
That's correct. But chances are, you know what I'm saying, that security deposit ain't gonna cover all that damage. I guarantee you.
Who knows? I don't know what the security deposit was. So that's an X factor. We can't comment on what we don't know. Maybe she charged 2 months rent. I don't know. We don't know. Maybe she charged a month rent. Who knows?
I don't know what she charged. If she charged a month, maybe worst case, maybe best case, she charged 2 months.
Right.
That's a lot more work than that.
I don't know.
Because you know what I'm saying, you gotta buy new doors, you gotta buy paint to paint the whole house. You know what I'm saying? And those wood floors to replace those, to actually fix those wood floors by itself.
But how much of that was her fault?
It was none of it was her fault.
Well, you just
well, I take that back. I wouldn't say none of it was her fault. I don't know all the details of if she did the due diligence before she let them walk in, right? Because that could possibly be her fault as well. The actual upgrade of the property, as if she was living there, that could be blamed. That could be put on her. So it ain't 100%. It ain't 100%. You're saying her hands off.
If you know you got tenants that's gonna be in and out of there, why would you put the hardest to maintain floors on there?
That's a great question. That's a great question. You know what I'm saying, and that's part of the mistake.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So you can't have the expectations as a landlord that somebody's gonna live in the same standard you're living in. That's the entitlement. Then you want the same respect that you would give somebody else, and that's not the case. That's not the case all the time.
Okay.
You know, so let's hit the next one. $150 now, two, ready to go, two, ready to give $200,000, I have $150 now, two, ready to give $200,000, go two, to bed two, ready to give two.
This is what happens when Black families can't come together to an agreement on what to do with land that is inherited. And I really hate to see Black farms, especially in the South, this happen because our ancestors worked so hard just to have this.
Cash, 5% down at the time of auction, balance due in 30 days. The sale is subject to confirmation by the court. In other words, no matter what we do here today, the judge has got to say it's okay and sign an order. 150 is a bid. Say 200,000. Ready to go to the bid table to get to 150 now to 150 now $200,000 go to the bid table to get 200. Now 200. 175 now $200,000 go to the bid table to get to 175 to go 200,000. Ready to give to the bid table to get 200,000. 175 now two. You're still way off. 175 now two. Ready to get $200,000 go to the bid table to get to 230. Making me work. That 240. Third and final time. Anyone go 321 5. Sold at 321. Right up here. Come up and give us your name, please. We appreciate everybody coming and attending. See you next sale. Thank you. 200,000. 150 now.
100 acres.
Right. That's a lot of acres.
100 acres.
All right. So you got
100 acres. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. A couple of dollars. $3.
You already know what our great grandparents had to go through, you know what I'm saying, in order to accumulate, in order to get that. And they rolling over in their grave right now that it's up for auction, that they generation, you know what I'm saying, just let somebody else benefit from that, which is crazy to me.
Right.
It's absolutely crazy. But here's the thing. In our community, you know what I'm saying, it happens more often than not, right? I done been part of transactions where somebody has said, I done said, you know what I'm saying, where transactions have been where somebody has had such a big ego. They said, I don't give a damn, you know what I'm saying, if we lose it or not. But I don't want such and such to get a penny from this property.
Bro.
So, you know what I'm saying? I'm willing to let this whole thing go. Just shit on the generation, shit on what my great-grandfather and them, you know what I'm saying, had to do, or great-grandmother and them had to do in order to accumulate this property, in order to get this property. But because I have such a vendetta versus one person or two people or three people or whatever the case may be, I'm willing to let this thing go just because I'm not willing to come to a compromise in order to be able to benefit from this actual property. Now, granted, I strongly believe that property probably, in most cases, was probably paid off free and clear.
Right.
Owed nothing on it, probably has some back taxes because, you know what I'm saying, nobody wants to take responsibility on the back taxes and everybody else benefit from it, right? So chances are, you know what I'm saying, that's probably what happened. Now, y'all don't let this thing go. Let somebody else go and get this thing for $200,000 or whatever the case may be, when you could have sold it yourself and split $200,000 amongst yourselves. But now you let ego stand in the way. It's very unfortunate, you know what I'm saying, that ego is one of the main killers in our community. And it's not only just men, it could be women too, because I've seen women let stuff go too, you know what I'm saying, just because of ego.
Right.
But it's very unfortunate of this situation, but it's more common than you may think.
I mean, I'll split on this one. I'll take it from my point of view, like passing stuff down. Long as I would take it from a more adult angle, very well enlightened angle. Once I pass on to the next round, I can't control what happens here on Earth. So I did my particular part. Now, again, I jumped the car, gave you the jump. It's up to you to keep the car running. So if they fumble a bag, you know, that's kind of, especially a generation down, that's kind of, you know, not on me at that point. You know, I did my due diligence. I worked hard and left you know, as the Bible said, a good man leaves an inheritance for his kids. As long as that's there, I did my particular part. Now, how can I control? How can I do something about my kids' kids? Only thing I can do is instill in the kids, and hopefully they pass that down, like I passed that particular thing down. But again, you have no control of it. The other side of me says, like, yeah, I mean, I could worry about, hey, we need to do this, we need to do that. The truth is, we're not going to do this and that, you know, and it's going to be what it is, you know. So all I could do is, you know, give 100% effort to me and my family to the fullest, and hopefully in close-knit people, some of that will rub off on it. But, you know, and just like I'm doing with the podcast, hopefully somebody come in and take some advice and that'll change somebody's life and change the trajectory of something somebody does or something to that effect, you know. But I'm not going to sit there and worry about it. You can't worry about something you can't control, because worrying is a form of meditation as well. So, so it is what it is. So all I can give you is advice. I mean, get into trust, start learning things about that, you know, irrevocable trust, you know, start getting wills together, start saving, get insurance policies together that pays for these taxes. You know, we got to start educating ourselves. I mean, as a community, we look at celebrity gossip and we know all the new dancing and who dating who and who got controversy with who and who about to get sued or who and who got beef with who. However, you know nothing about taxes. You know nothing about irrevocable trust. You know nothing about Roth IRAs. So that's the stuff you need to be looking at instead of binge watching Netflix. You know, so again, I'm preaching to the choir because most people ain't gonna do that. Most people I'm sounding crazy to. So for those who can't hear me, keep the earplugs in. The rest who can hear me, you know, hey, Look at life insurance policies. Look at this. Look at that. Look into that. Google that, because I'm not going to do the work for you. That's another problem we have. We want somebody to preach to us. You got to do your own research. You want to get cold at something, you got to do your own research and get your own put your own practice in. So I can point to you, hey, look over there. A certain nationality got rich just off of life insurance policies. So just look over there. Look at the life insurance policies. So, and that's all I can say. We've talked about this ad nauseum on the podcast. Again, I'm worried about what somebody else is doing. You just got to do it. I sprinkle my little seeds and go from there. And I'm not going to sit there and hold your hand through it. Not unless you're paying me a whole bunch of money. And that's where I'm at with it. You know what I'm saying? So let's go to this next one.
Technical difficulties.
Not sharing. Let me go back here. Let me run it one more time. Yeah, this is another viral one that just went viral as well. So let's rock this. Let's run one more time. Try it. Can you see the screen?
I can see it. I can see it buffering now. Hold on. Yep.
All right, cool.
You haven't got anything yet. The credit card hasn't been put inside.
Wait.
Okay?
Oh my God. Are you serious?
I'll go ahead and give you first crack at it because I seen this one that went viral a couple of days ago, so I had to put it in there.
Man, look, it's so.
Yeah.
I'm never the one, to talk about what somebody needs for a status gift, right? You know what I'm saying? We got all types of gifts. We got push gifts. We got Christmas gifts. We got marriage gifts, whatever the case may be, right? You know what I'm saying? So I think once we make it to a certain level where we're making a certain amount of money, and we've seen so much, about Louis Vuitton, Gucci, or or Hermes bags, or whatever the case may be, we get to the point, where we want to celebrate and we want to congratulate ourselves, or just remind ourselves of a goal where we was able to accomplish. It appears that this could be the case where she got to a certain status, she wanted an Hermes bag, and she went and got it. I just pray to God, she wasn't in a situation where she's living paycheck to paycheck and then trying to actually qualify for a Hermes bag. So even though this clip went viral, there's a lot more information that I need in order to actually judge this clip or whatever the case may be, because I don't know the whole story. But what I can tell you is, congratulations for her to qualify for a Hermes bag. It's not the same. I don't know, it's not the same as buying a house. She could own 3 or 4, 10, 12 houses or whatever the case may be. That part I don't know, right? But just as of right now, what I would say is, just the fact that you qualified for a Hermes bag, congratulations, I guess, but I don't know much about her financial status to even be able to comment if she's doing too much, if she shouldn't be excited by it. From the information that I know, Hermes bags actually appreciate rather than depreciate. I don't know how true that is, but I don't know. I ain't got much to comment on this one because I don't know enough.
Well, the backstory is she got financing for it, so that goes to tell you right there, like she couldn't afford it, so she got approved for it. That's why she was happy that she got approved. So So that was the backstory. Then the reason why it's going viral as well is that all those people that thought that Hermes bags were good investors, even like Just Hilarious and all that, now that it's been exposed that all of their factories in China, all of their stock and everything's plummeting. So it was a bad investment all the way around. You know, so that all of, you know, and I don't know if you heard the latest, but China has some viral videos showing that all the factories they well, you know, it's right here in China. All they're doing is putting a label on in Italy. You know, so they've been finessing y'all the whole time. Because think about it, they got crocodile. There's no crocodiles in Italy. You know, so so all these bags, all this, they importing everything anyway. So, you know, so we've been getting finessed the whole time. And I know what it's from. It's from that you want people to give you respect and think you got money. You think that rich people go on a certain type of respect, and you want that instantly. And you think by getting this article of clothing or getting this car that you're going to instantly get that respect. And that's why we do the things we do, because we want to be respected as a rich person. You know, and that's why we spend all our money and go into debt to look the part, because we want to be treated as such, instead of actually working hard and getting there and be treated like you're supposed to be treated once you get there. It's a cheat code. We'll finance our way and we'll, you know, make payments to try to look and to try to get that treatment. You know, so that's what it is. I think that's why it went viral, because she was all excited about getting financed for a depreciating asset, the butter that, you know, and they found out, I don't know if you've seen these videos, like the same knockoffs cost like $15. So you spent $70,000 for something that costs like $15. So it's perceived value. So that, and that's why they've been tricking us the whole time. You know, and we buy into this BS, you know, all the time. And we're the biggest consumers. You know, so we make bad decisions, bad choices. I don't think congratulations at all. Congratulations, you got finessed. That's the only congratulations I got. You know, you can't get me to. I don't know who Birkin is. I don't know who Mans is. I don't know none of that. All I know is that you got finessed. You know. So.
Hey, look, congratulations. You know what I'm saying? Look, hey, look, you know what I'm saying? Hermes probably was on the bucket list. So, you know what I'm saying? She was able to get a Hermes, you know what I'm saying? She on cloud nine, at least for the time being.
At least for the time. Enjoy that high. That's why they say sweep you off the feet. You got to fall in love. You falling, you know? So it's emotional where you're not temporarily losing your balance and your all control of your body. Same thing. That's what they do in retail. They make you fall in love with these items, these material items, and then you don't have any sense. You're goofy right now.
Hey, look, that goes back to the first video we talking about. You know what I'm saying? Women gonna spend the most money. Exactly. So, you know what I'm saying? You might as well get on in there, you know what I'm saying? Get you something, because they going to spend it. You know what I'm saying? And she's happy as a log or whatever. And then she's probably going to go out and buy $1,000, $5,000 worth of clothing to match that Hermes bag, because guarantee she going to wear that Hermes bag wherever she go. To the gym, if she can put that shit on her.
Right.
To wear it to the gym.
Right. I don't get it, but I get it. You know, I don't get it, but I get it. All right, let's hit the next one real quick.
Yep.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But true. As far as the real estate game, if I'm young and I want to get into the game, what would you tell me? What would be my first, not the whole shit, what's my first step?
Buy your course? No. Learn development.
Development of what?
Learn how to build a house early. You don't gotta touch anything. Development is the highest level in real estate, right? As a developer, and we could actually kind of skip through my whole real estate journey. If I could teach my sons, which I'm teaching them now, they watching what I'm doing step by step. The real bag in real estate is development. is building a house. And that's why I said at the beginning.
Yes, I remember.
Somebody
exactly.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
that's
But
true.
as far as the real estate game, if I'm young and I want to get into the game, what would you tell me? What would be my first, not the whole shit, what's my first step?
Buy your course?
No. Learn.
I guess that was it.
Yep. That was it.
Right. What do you think about that?
100%. 100%. The evolution of it, I'm saying, a real estate investor is eventually get to the point where you're developing. You're developing houses. You develop a house, understand how it works. Then you go from one house to now you're building 2 houses, you're building 3 houses, and then you're building a small community. There's lots of money to be made at that point because, you know what I'm saying, it's not like you're slinging hammers. It's not like you're slinging drills and all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? All you're doing is managing a project and making sure that it goes the way that it's supposed to. There's many of companies that actually developers that make money. What happens is that, you know what I'm saying, you have these builders, right? These builders, DR Horton, KB Homes, or whatever the case may be, you know what I'm saying, they want to build the infrastructure for a community. There's somebody else that's coming in and cleaning out the whole lot. There's somebody else that's coming in to lay all the electricity. They're putting all the roads in there. They developing all that stuff, you know what I'm saying, just to hand it over to a builder, 1 builder, 2 builder, 3 builders, right? They're handing this stuff over to builders to build the house. They've already done the underground infrastructure. They have already done the beginning part. They're making their money off of everything that these builders are doing. So if you think about your master plan community, when you go inside a new community and they have KB Homes has a site, Perry Homes has a site, DR Horton has a site, you know what I'm saying? You got these different builders that have a site within a certain master plan community. There's a developer that is actually infrastructure and putting all this stuff together. This is where the Walmart's going to go. This is where the HEB is going to go. This is where the gas station is going to go. They're the developers that are putting all that stuff together. They didn't start there. They eventually made their way up to that point. Once you get there, you know what I'm saying, you're you're on top of the mountain at that point, so to speak. So, you know what I'm saying, you start off rehabs or whatever the case may be, and then you get into actually new construction and so on and so forth. So 100% I understand and validate what he's saying, because when you get to development, you know what I'm saying, you're more hands off. You're more the brains behind the operation. And then you let everybody else kind of come in and make their money while you're making money as well. Not only that, a lot of developers are actually getting this land and they're keeping the mineral rights. When people purchase property, they think they're purchasing mineral rights and they think they're purchasing the whole property. You own everything. Well, you know what I'm saying? You have to look at the details. The devil's in the details, because what a lot of developers are doing, they're keeping the rights to the mineral rights. They're selling you the land. They're selling you the house that these builders are building on top of it. But if somebody comes in there and they strike gold, the developers are coming back and they're taking over. So they're at the top of the food chain. 100% agree what he's saying. You know what I'm saying? And to me, it's not where you want to start learning. As far as development, it's not where, you know what I'm saying, you want to, I mean, everybody's journey is a little bit different. To me, you want to get into rehabs and then kind of build yourself up to where you're understanding what you're doing. You're understanding how to manage an actual project. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, he's 100% right. The developers is at the top of the food chain.
I mean, just to add to that real quickly, because I just checked. I got quite a few more. I had a couple of weeks work check. But yeah, I mean, you don't want to jump into that deep water. The thing about development, you think you have to have a lot of connection as a wholesaler. You got to have even more connections, money connections as a developer. You know, so you got to have those relationships in place to even get in the conversation, even the rooms.
That's correct.
Sometimes. So, you know, you think you're going to start off and take a course and become a developer. You're sadly mistaken. It comes from years and years of knowing people, knowing you, and knowing how to get into certain rooms. And then certain rooms, they're not going to let people in off the street. You know, so it just is what it is. You got to be known to have a portfolio and have money and have connections in order to get in some of these rooms. But this is what it is. So people not even going to entertain you. You know, so think you're going to start off as a developer, you're sadly mistaken. That's all I got to add to that.
Here's the other thing too to keep into account. We're solely talking about people that want to do it by themselves.
Right.
If you have people within your circle, or you want to partner with other groups, or you want to partner with somebody, you know what I'm saying, in order to get your leg in the door, money's going to open a lot of doors for you. So if you have the wherewithal in order to get into these groups, to get into development or whatever the case may be, you can shorten that learning curve drastically. But you have to have the connections. You have to have the people that's actually helping you. They're bringing you in. You're a part of the ownership group in order to develop that land. And then now you have the experience to try to build a relationship with a bank, or build a relationship in order to do a smaller project by yourself. And then you can take on bigger projects. So if you have money, you know what I'm saying, you know, you can actually shorten that learning curve. But if you're trying to do it by yourself, then, you know, you have to go through the proper channels and the proper chain, you know what I'm saying? And starting with trying to build a community is not necessarily always the best first step.
Gotcha. Let's hit this next one.
Rents are crashing, down 22% from the peak. And you're seeing this in cities in Florida, in Tennessee, basically anywhere that made it easy to build, that saw a surge in demand, real estate prices are coming down. So let's use Austin as the example. They saw an increase in demand when people flocked to the state during the pandemic. When you increase demand, you don't increase supply, prices go up. Rents went up by 25% in 2020 alone. So what happened next? Builders saw the opportunity, so they built, and they built a lot. They added 50,000 new rentable units in the last 2 years. And now there's too much product. Vacancies have gone up. Landlords are giving free rent for months, and even offering gift cards to try to get people in. And because of that, you're seeing prices come down. Now, contrast that to the markets that I invest in. And remember, you guys have been telling me I am nuts for years because I build apartments in Southern California. Now, why do I invest here? It's for all the reasons why everyone else invested in Texas and Florida, because it's easy there and difficult here. But my outlook is, as an investor, if it's difficult to add units and the demand is high, that makes it so that rents stay up and prices stay up. Basically, you don't see the typical cycles happen in California the way you do in areas that are easy to add supply. So as investors, I think there's a strong case that by investing in difficult markets that have demand, you have the potential to see maybe higher returns. But for California, if you want to solve the housing crisis, you have to make it easier to build. As you're seeing in these cities, that's how you do it. So my question to you, do you think a state like California will deregulate and become more business friendly so that more housing is built and then the housing crisis goes away? Austin.
All right. Let me go and get first stab at it real quick. I mean, let's start with the top, that the rent prices are. Yeah, when you got too much product, you got, of course, now everybody's going to start slashing prices because it's competition. This is why, again, and it goes a perfect segue from the last clip. A lot of people want to hop into multi-unit or hop into apartment complex, especially if they got some money. And they don't know the whole thing of the market, you know. So if they got too much vacancies in the market, you could stand to go months and months with a half vacancy, half occupancy, you know, and you have to actually have the actual cash flow to sustain that. So those guys are, I want to get into apartment complexes. You better have the capital because you could lose your shirt. That's how you go broke for sure. For sure. You know, so people want to hop into the deep water, and you're talking to even deeper water as a developer. You know, so again, take your time. Real estate is not a race. The tortoise always wins. Don't forget, it's not about the hair, how quick you can rise to the top. It's about how smart and efficient that you can do. The things that you could do. As far as rents, on the decline, Houston is a little bit different. I mean, there is so many people still moving to Houston. They still have inventory out here as well, but again, with apartment complexes, that's a different ball game. You know, let's take it to the last part that he was talking about as far as building in California. I wouldn't touch California with a 10-foot pole. And I even dropped my license. I was licensed in California up until this year. I didn't renew my license in California. I think California is sinking fast. They're talking about now putting $50 the Dems out there trying to make $50 the minimum wage. That's going to crush that economy. You know, California is for sure going to be bankrupt. Like a lot of the cities in Northern California are already bankrupt, so that's going to bankrupt the rest of the state. You know, so they do that. You know, so many businesses going to go out of business because they can't afford to have workers. You know, so making a minimum wage $50, that's a bad idea. Building in California with and I got coming later because of tariff, I think it's just a bad idea. It's just not. It's not. I know it's easy because nobody trying to do it right there. I guess it's easy. I guess eventually it'll bounce back. Depends on who's running the state, though. It's risky. It's too risky for me. Too risky for me out there. You know, I just wouldn't do it. I don't see where. I get it. There's no, you know, but they got so much red tape out there with that Democratic legislation and government out there. You know, it's too much. There's too much red tape. Everybody got to get their palms greased. You know, so I just wouldn't. I don't feel what he's doing. You know, if this is what it is, we got more clips coming up about Florida and Texas as well. So, but I'll go ahead and leave it up to you while I load this next clip.
I think 100% what he's saying makes sense. But I think, you know what I'm saying, everybody's strategy is a little bit different. California has been struggling for the past few years, you know what I'm saying, as far as their economy goes and everything that they have going on. In order to get things going back to where, you know what I'm saying, they, you know, people are actually able to thrive within that economy, they have to do something different. So when he talks about deregulating laws, maybe getting permits out faster, you know, doing things that, you know what I'm saying, could actually change the economy. I think from political standpoint, you know what I'm saying, you have to come in and make changes in order to kind of get that economy going again, you know what I'm saying, because they suffered a lot. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. I think, you know what I'm saying, with the values and what he's looking at good, just for the cost of living, you know what I'm saying, you're looking to actually make money there. I think he may be a little bit ahead of the curve, which is what a lot of investors try to do. Hey, look, man, this actually has to happen. So before everybody else starts to jump in the pond, let me go ahead and get my foot in already. You know what I'm saying? Where another developer has 6 months of actually planning, permits, building, you know what I'm saying, you know, plans and all this other stuff, you know what I'm saying? I already have my footprint in. I already started the process, you know what I'm saying? So instead of going to somewhere where it's easier, where it may be oversaturated because investors are lazy, instead of going somewhere where it's oversaturated, I'm going to start right here, you know what I'm saying? And then when regulations change and regulations loosen up, I'm already started, you know what I'm saying? I'm already going, right? So I don't think necessarily it's a bad strategy. I think with the economy wise, you know what I'm saying, California has to do something different. And I think eventually it's going to happen. He's already ahead of the curve. He's already in the curve, right? So it's not necessarily a bad idea. It's not a bad idea to go to Texas, you know what I'm saying, and start developing. It's not a bad idea at all, you know what I'm saying? It's just by executing some sort of plan and moving forward. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, I have nothing against what he's saying. I have nothing against his thought process. Everybody's thought process is a little bit different. Even Warren Buffett said, you know what I'm saying, when others are scared, that's when you be greedy. When others are greedy, that's when you're scared, right? So in California, everybody was fleeing. COVID, everybody was trying to get out of California. Nobody wanted to do anything in California. They wanted to come down to Texas and Florida and get it done. So then now, you know what I'm saying, when competition is not thick, it leaves a prime opportunity for you to come in and make a whole bunch of money.
Depends on how deep that wallet is. If your wallet is deep, then yeah, go for it. If your wallet's, you know, you still need a little help, you might want to proceed with caution. You know, so
yeah, it depends. You know what I'm saying? Look, I'm pretty sure, you know what I'm saying, political wise, you know what I'm saying, if you're one of the few that's still willing to do something in California and make something happen, they're willing to move mountains to help you make that happen.
Gotcha. Let's hit this next one real quick.
He stopped lending on condos in Florida. Wow. What that basically means is that if I'm not comfortable deploying my own money into Florida, I'm not deploying my friends and family money either, right? Because we are invested alongside our investors. So we stopped lending in Florida because we feel that it's too high of a risk for us to lend there, right? So while it's very important to understand that, again, the laws are very favorable for both tenants and investors, but we stopped on condos. And the reason why is what you just said, but also if you look at Florida's like history, right, over the years, it always sees like these fluctuations. And we just don't want to get caught here, right? When it goes right. That is scary. Regardless, we didn't reduce leverage there. We stopped lending there. We stopped lending on condos in Florida. Wow. What that basically means is that.
All right, I'll give you first crack at that. I'd like to fish the next one here.
I get it. Everybody investing appetite is a little bit different, right? You know what I'm saying? When you're the leader of the fund and you're the leader of the actual company, everybody has their personal opinion about what's going to happen with the economy and the best strategy in order to deploy that money. 100% get that. I think there's a lot of opportunities still be had in Florida. But you know what I'm saying? To each his own. So, you know what I'm saying? They stopped lending on condos in Florida. I do think condos are less of an appetite for investors. It's less of an appetite for homeowners just because of the HOA fee. If you pay off the mortgage, you're still going to have that high HOA fee, and especially in Florida. You're going to have HOA fees, you know what I'm saying, and all these other fees that you're still going to have to pay. It's not really a high appetite for investors down there. So obviously, you know what I'm saying, we want to be where, we have the highest chance of winning. So anytime the economy, you know what I'm saying, is struggling a little bit, we definitely want to get where, you know what I'm saying, we can get layups and not necessarily shoot deep 3-pointers. So, you know what I'm saying, to each his own, you know what I'm saying, but, his strategy is what he decided. More power to him. I hope he make a whole bunch of money.
Gotcha. I mean, I get what he's saying is condos, because a lot of those condos are bankrupt. I had like 2 or 3 last year that couldn't lend on them because the condos are the budget is gone. The budget is bust. So I get why they stopped lending in Florida, because of the HOAs and those condos, and each HOA is different, and you have no control of that, and they don't manage their budget right. And then if they bust, then you screwed. So I get it. It's too risky. And I get, like I said, everybody's appetite is different, but for the sensible investor, you got those HOAs are monsters. Like I said, they don't know how to manage the budget. A lot of them just are in the red, operating in the red. And then most traditional Fannie and Freddie won't touch them with a 10-foot pole. So you got your private money in there, and you get locked up, you done. You can lose that money. So it is what it is. Let's hit the next one, because I got a few.
And here's the thing with the banks, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's all about, I don't think, you know what I'm saying, regular people understand, you know what I'm saying, with the bank, it's all about risk. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather get easy return on my money versus, you know what I'm saying, putting it at high risk, hoping for a return. If I don't know for certain, or I don't have a high probability that I'm able to get that money back, plus the interest, plus dividends, and be able to make money on it, I'm not going to do it. It just doesn't make sense.
Right. Let's hit this next.
Black family passes on. Listen to this. $0 to the next generation. Yep, I said 0. That means when somebody dies, the family gets nothing. No wonder we cry so much at funerals. We're grieving twice, grieving over losing a loved one and grieving that they didn't leave us anything. You see, other ethnic groups leave wills, but we leave bills. Well, what does Proverbs 13:22 say? A good person leaves an inheritance to his children's children. That means our money should impact at least 3 generations. It should impact ours, our children's, and our grandchildren's. So we have to start building generational wealth. Average Black family passes on. Listen to this.
Actually, I played that out of sequence. I should have played that after the auction clip. But Yeah, I echo that. Perfectly said. I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. You know, my whole mission is to make this not only this place that I got, that I arrived at 1% better, but also my immediate family to make an impact on my work. I believe that's part of my legacy. You know, leave my work and then they can eat off my work for 2 generations. That's Proverbs 13:22. You know, so that should be your goal, your focus. Most of us don't, because we live this YOLO, backwards, degenerate type life. You know, so all about ourselves, all about me, 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 me. Don't strategize. Don't sacrifice. Total opposite than our grandparents' generation. You know, they made sacrifices. They put up with a lot, so we have the opportunity to do what we do. And when we did, we fumbled the bag. Now, I do give us props. We are still creative. We did take it to another level and get money, but what we doing with the money? We lost that communal sense. We lost that building. Think about it, if we took that, had that same spirit, so to say, of our grandparents with the money we make in a day, we could do a whole bunch. But instead, we individualists, you know, and we taking the money and trying to outdo the next person, and we leaving nothing for the next generation, but a bunch of bills. Like you said, everybody else got wheels, we got bills, because we YOLO'd it up. You know, I'm gonna do this for the gram. We'll do this for now. I'm gonna do this, you know. But you can't leave your children a bunch of stories about you, what you did in your life. You know, yeah, you know, back in the days, I had this Birkin bag. You know, so you can't, you know, that's gonna deteriorate. I get, yeah, you can just put memories and stuff together, but for them, I guess. But at the end of the day, they still want a nice leg to step up on. You know, so you can't spend it all yourself. You have to think about the next generation. The average person in our community don't even think about that. Don't even think about retiring. Don't even think about the next generation. Ask them about it. Ask the next time you talk to one of your close homeboys or hunger. Hey, what type of life insurance you got for the family? You know, what's your retirement plan? They're gonna look dumbfounded. But they'll sure talk about what Shannon Sharp and go, man, what you think about that boy Shannon Sharp? What you think, Lakers in 5? Come on. You know what I mean? Come on, man.
I definitely think, you know what I'm saying, we come from a selfish background where, you know what I'm saying, a lot of people actually think about themselves. Hey, look, you know what I'm saying, I had to fend for myself, so my kids have to fend for theirs, right? You know what I'm saying? Right. And I think even if you think selfishly, you know what I'm saying, you have to think, okay, well, look, you know what I'm saying, I need a proper burial. I understand my kids, and I know my kids better than anybody, because if you did it right, you know what I'm saying, you spend a whole bunch of time with them to understand, you know what I'm saying, their tendencies, their mindset, and what they're going to think about, you know what I'm saying. And typically, you know what I'm saying, you can kind of pinpoint what they're going to do once you pass away. So, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, if you don't want to think outside yourself, at least think that, you know what I'm saying, I need a proper burial. So I need to get a life insurance policy, you know what I'm saying, that 15, 20 grand, whatever the case may be, or get some kind of burial insurance to where, you know what I'm saying, I can have the proper burial if I leave. I don't have to depend on my kids to scramble up money. I don't have to depend on my kids to do a GoFundMe to actually be able to bury me. I have life insurance policy or burial insurance policy to make sure that, you know what I'm saying, I get the proper burial that I need, and not burden my kids with having to try to find the money in order to kind of bury me and give me the proper burial. They're not just trying to cremate me and, you know what I'm saying, you know, and then send me on about my way. So even from a selfish standpoint, you know what I'm saying, you need to think about, hey, look, at least I need to be able to carry some kind of insurance to bury myself properly. But ideally, you know what I'm saying, you want to leave the next generation in a better position than you were in. And the way to do that, you know what I'm saying, is through some sort of life insurance. We got to get outside ourselves, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, look, man, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take this money with me. So as long as I got this money, I'm gonna spend up as much as I can, you know what I'm saying? And then, once I'm gone, I'm gone. The kids is on their own. I think for a lot of other generations and a lot of other families, they think about, hey, look, I need to give my kids a step up. If something happens to me, you know what I'm saying, I need to be able to leave something to the next generation where they can think about Papa. I was able to start this business because Papa left a life insurance, you know what I'm saying, that paid us off good enough for me to start this business and then pass it on to my kids and then my kids' kids or whatever the case may be. But it's unfortunate, you know what I'm saying, that we have a lot of people in our community that only think about themselves. Once I'm gone, I'm gone. I don't care what they do. I don't care about the next generation. They got to fend for themselves like I fended for myself. And it's very unfortunate, but you know what I'm saying, it's very prevalent in the community. And I slowly but surely see it changing, but it's not changing at the pace that I think a lot of us would want it to.
Right. All right, let's hit this next one real quick.
Yep.
Here in Atlanta. 11 Alive's Molly Oak shows us the new numbers, breaking down Metro Atlanta's affordability as more people are expected to move here.
Affording Atlanta.
Oh my God, it's so expensive. I feel like you have to live really far out in order to afford anywhere, a house or anything alone, especially.
I don't think it's affordable for people who don't have good monetary resources or family resources that have money.
Affordability had been an city of Atlanta issue for a long time, but it is an issue which has been growing.
Even affording Metro Atlanta.
Every city in the 11 County Metro is feeling the pinch. They're all faced with the affordability issue. And so it is truly a big regional issue at this point.
Data from the Atlanta Regional Commission shows wages for the average worker aren't keeping up with the increase in housing prices.
It is a crisis for people who are in the region right now.
According to the ARC, from 2018 to 2023, the Metro lost more than 230,000 affordable units, apartments renting for $1,500 or less. Plus, it's forecasting by 2050, another 1.8 million people are moving here.
And if we're not keeping up with the pace, if we keep building at the pace that we're right now, and we keep losing units at the pace that we are right now, we can only see this problem getting worse.
And while the ARC says there's not a one-size-fits-all solution to getting back on track,
I think financing is one of those key mechanisms that we're seeing a lot of movement on, but we need to see a lot more injection of cash into these projects for them to be successful.
Expert describes housing affordability.
I think Atlanta, that's another thing. Everybody, we monkey see, monkey do, man. Everybody hopped on that Atlanta bandwagon, and now Atlanta oversaturated, and everything got astronomical. It's the opposite of the clip that we seen earlier. Like I said, people were moving to Austin, and they stopped, and now they over speculated. Atlanta, they can't keep pace because everybody want to move to Atlanta, hot Atlanta. And everything's getting too expensive. I've heard like even all the restaurants and stuff overpriced. Like everything's overpriced over there now because everybody moved there like a hotbed in the South. I went out. I will admit I went out there, and last time I went out in 19, it has gotten a lot better. I haven't been out there since the pandemic. I'm gonna have to check it out. But it was a lot better than I remember it from the early 2000s. As far as commerce and how things work, but I think way too many people moved out there, especially like from Florida and everywhere. Everybody up north and stuff like that. So everybody moved out there, and it got too expensive. It's the opposite. Now it's not enough supply, too much demand. The opposite.
Yep. I think for Atlanta, you know what I'm saying, the economy has boomed so much out there. You know what I'm saying, Atlanta has slowly been growing, and I think a lot of it started, you know what I'm saying, when Tyler Perry actually opened up the studios out there. When he opened up the studios out there, you know what I'm saying, they start shooting a lot of movies, a lot of shows, a lot of everything else out there in Atlanta. Everybody wants to be where the who's are who's, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know what I'm saying, since California is not only the mecca of Hollywood celebrities now, you know what I'm saying, now everybody wants to move to Atlanta because that's where a lot of stuff is happening now. So, you know what I'm saying, I think the economy has changed drastically in Atlanta. And I think, you know what I'm saying, that Houston is going to eventually become the Atlanta problem, because a lot of people are moving to Houston, because you now have a lot of celebrities that's moving to Houston. When you talk about the 50 Cents, a lot of social media influencers and a lot of celebrities are moving to Houston because now Houston is the it thing, right? So, you know what I'm saying, there's going to be more celebrities that's talking about moving to Houston. And I think over, you know what I'm saying, over the course of maybe a couple of years, and maybe a year or 2 years or whatever the case may be, Houston is going to have the same problem Atlanta's having, where there's so many people moving here because, you know what I'm saying, they want to be what the celebrities are. They want to be where it's marketed. So many people are talking about Houston. Everything Houston has going on, from the food to the economy, you know what I'm saying, everything that Houston has going on, there's a lot of people that's going to be moving here. And I think it's going to run into the same problem. It just happens to be, you know what I'm saying, it's Atlanta now. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I think it's going to spread around and be the same problem in different cities. But right now, I would say, you know what I'm saying, if you're in Atlanta and you own any property or want to own any property, you know what I'm saying, now is the time to take advantage.
Well, I'm already ahead of you. That's why I moved out. I moved to the outskirts, you know. So that's why I moved out of. Well, I already lived on the west side, so, but I've definitely moved away from Houston because I already see it coming, you know. So, you know, I know it's gonna come soon where it's gonna be overpopulated. It's already overpriced now, so it's coming real soon. Let's go ahead to this next one real quick. You know, well,
never be able to afford a house. We're in Provincetown, Massachusetts. $1 million for 1 bed, 1 bath, 700 square feet. $1 million for 700 square feet. Jumping right in. Here is your $1 million living room. It's nice and cozy. Here's your $1 million kitchen, and it's nice because the washer and dryer are also in the kitchen. So really, all in one here. It's like there's a little bedroom down here and like a little loft, lone chair, another lone chair, another lone chair. But here's your bedroom in your $1 million house. Nearby in Nantucket, I found this house for almost $4 million. It's 4 bed, 2 bath, and 1,200 square feet. Here's your $4 million living room. It's got a fireplace, or used to. Who's taking this bedroom? Who wants dibs? Here's your $4 million kitchen. So, and here's your bathroom. You know, it's got all the necessary components. So that's good. And then lastly, I spiraled because I knew New York City would give us something good. I just knew it. I had a feeling. And this is $1.5 million for 400 square feet. This is the whole apartment right here. This is it. $1.5 million. There's like this hallway, which includes your kitchen. So this is the entire apartment, and that's it. This gives me some hope, you know? If we all work hard, we can also one day own 400 square feet. Love you, bye. On today's episode of I'll Never Be Able to.
I mean, what you got?
It's all smoke and mirrors, man. You know what I'm saying? Look, in Massachusetts, you know what I'm saying, it's only a certain amount of real estate. It's only a certain amount of land. Anywhere, you know what I'm saying, where you have a certain amount of land that's there, it's like New York, right? You know what I'm saying? It's a certain amount of land that you could actually build on. There's not really anywhere where you can actually expand and be able to get something for cheaper. So, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be expensive. But, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy when you think about this because it's an apartment. But if I could pause that video when he showed the living room and you have the glass and it's overlooking Massachusetts, you know what I'm saying? That's what you're paying for. You're paying for the location. You're in the middle of whatever city that he was showing that apartment in. You're in the middle of that city and you're in a condo high rise, a penthouse, you know, maybe close to a penthouse, maybe not a penthouse, but close to a penthouse. But you're paying for the actual location and the actual view, right? So I'm guaranteeing, you know what I'm saying, there's other places within Massachusetts, maybe not inside downtown, that you can get something a little bit cheaper. So you know what I'm saying, it is kind of crazy where, you know what I'm saying, you're paying $4 million or $1 million or whatever the case may be for an apartment like that, but everybody has their different type of living. If you're an executive and your company is within walking distance of downtown or whatever the case may be, maybe it's not that big of a stretch. I don't know. But I do think, I'm saying, that video is a little bit skewed because you have to understand where you're located. Real estate is about location, location, location. You don't necessarily have to be downtown. You could drive 30 or 40 minutes to downtown and pay a little bit cheaper than what he actually showed. But the view is what you're actually paying for. The location is what you're actually paying for. So I don't think he explained that. It is amazing that, I'm saying, you don't get much for $1 million in Massachusetts. But I'm saying, I don't think he gave the whole picture. He only gave half the picture.
Well, I was spinning, and I want to take it to a different angle. Like, I think we get stuck on our surroundings, and a lot of people making and outpacing us and making a whole lot of money, and where that ain't nothing to them, So you got people that's, thinking $60,000 a year is decent, and the expectations, like the first clip we talked about where the expectations, well, the second clip with Wallow, where they content with being the tallest midget, So I think you need to, set your goals for the stars and maximize your potential, and where it won't be a problem. That 3.8 million probably just because of the land where it's at. Nantucket is close, I guess. Martha's Vineyard and all that stuff. I don't know where it's at, but they got people that can afford New York. There's been all lifetime New Yorkers, So, but they're outpacing us. I mean, they, the wages are higher, and they got more hustles, So you got to set your sights up and get your money up. I mean, just settling for just enough to get by, people outlapping you. That's why I take it. Like, if you looking to feel the title, like, man, they should lower the standards or make stuff cheaper so you can afford it. Nah, step your game up. Get it to where you can afford stuff like that. That's my take on it. I'm gonna spin it to that note. Let me play this next clip because the next clip kind of piggybacks off of that.
All right.
What $7,300 per month gets you in the West Village neighborhood of New York City. This building is on a gorgeous block with so many bars and restaurants and cafes. We're going to check out a 1-bedroom. Walking into the home, you have a closet to your immediate left and also an intercom. This is a really great closet for coats, shoes, and
Closet?
that is the window kitchen, which has some great appliances, including a microwave. You've got a lot
It
of
better be already food in there.
counter space as well. This window is obviously great to have when you're cooking, but please look at the view. Here's what it looks like with regular zoom. It is truly just stunning. Let's check out the rest of the home. Up next is the living area. The home truly has some beautiful details. And this room is such a good size, so you can easily fit a couch, a TV, a dining table, possibly even a desk. You also get some nice views from this room. Moving right along, I'm going to show you yet another closet that this home has. This one's actually deeper. This closet is such a great size, also perfect for hiding.
She gotta be a realtor. Ain't no way.
I really like. I love the floor.
Selling the hell out of that thing.
Bathroom does have a window, and you also have this medicine cabinet for.
It's supposed to have a damn.
Is a corner bedroom, so you get double exposures, and the views from this room are just so gorgeous. It's also a really good size, so you can easily fit a bed, a nightstand, a dresser, and more. Let's look at the view that you would get from this window. I mean, who does not want to wake up to this view? It's stunning. Here is the second window.
We don't want to wake up to them prices.
And right across from that, there is a closet. It's also a solid size, so you've got a few good closets here.
Solid.
It's currently available for rent, so reach out to me if you're interested in this.
No.
What?
Well, like I said from the earlier clip, man, at $7,300, you looking at the luxury of luxury out here in Houston, but that gets you a little broom closet of an apartment, 1-bedroom out there in New York. So, is it that our expectations are too low, or do we need to step our game up and get a little bit more money? Because out there in New York, that's probably standard, $3,000 to $4,000 is slums. If you want something nice, you're probably looking at $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 out there in New York, and there ain't gonna be much of nothing. So I know making $100,000 is nothing out there in New York. So it's a different ball game out there, So we just have to step our game up. This is what it is. There's plenty money to go around. It's just a matter of how you gonna get, are you gonna get some? Let me run one more New York clip because it goes with the theme, and then we'll go from there. All right.
If there's one thing that makes absolutely no sense, it's real estate in the outer boroughs of New York. Like, I can understand paying $80 million for a penthouse that overlooks Central Park, but saving up $1.5 million to buy this in Queens is crazy. Like genuinely, please, somebody tell me why you wouldn't spend literally half of that and buy an actual compound in Texas. And I'm not even saying it has to be Texas, like literally just anything but dropping an M on this. And I promise this is not a post like literally just to hate on New York City. I'm just genuinely looking for someone to educate me on how this is possible. If there's one thing that makes absolutely no sense, it's real estate in the outer.
I get it. The location. However, is the juice worth the squeeze, man? I guess, especially with all these remote jobs, like, I would, get something, a remote job with a New York wage and live somewhere totally different.
Yeah, but how easy is that to get though?
I don't know. I would try to find out. It's like I get it. It's like you got Wall Street right there. You got all these other things right there. I guess, but shoot, like, man, you're not getting a lot for that type of money. So even in the, like you said, the outer boroughs is like that too. Like in the out, not in New York City, but just in New York State, it's expensive. So I never got the lure to New York. I like the music and the culture. But I wouldn't want to live there. Cold is cold half the time. I don't get it. I don't get the lure. So
well, you know what I'm saying? For somebody that was raised up there, you know what I'm saying? It's second nature. It's no big deal for them.
Right.
But here's the other thing too, that you have to think about. It's amazing for us here in Texas to think about, you know what I'm saying, what you can get down here versus up there. But the other thing is as well too, you know what I'm saying, that kind of equals out is the property taxes. You know what I'm saying? The property taxes is so astronomical in Texas. And you know what I'm saying, so much lower in other parts of the country. You have to kind of weigh. The pros and the cons. But I think, you know what I'm saying, up there, you know what I'm saying, any way you look at it, $1 million is $1 million. But the cost of living up there, you're probably getting paid a lot more than you are down here in Texas, for sure. So, you know what I'm saying, if you can do a remote job, you know what I'm saying, and still get paid the same wage up there, you know what I'm saying, and live anywhere in the country, I mean, ideally, you know what I'm saying, that's the situation. But I don't know how many opportunities that is available.
Right.
To regular people.
I don't know. New York, man, I guess it's the city that never sleeps, but like a lot of, it's almost like London, where you get robbed, you got the rats, you got all kind of stuff. I guess it's good to soak up the culture and stuff like that, but I don't know. I'm not sold on New York. I never had the desire. If I'm gonna spend a whole bunch of money, I'll at least have the weather. Give me California if I'm gonna spend a whole bunch of silly money.
You ain't lying.
Yeah,
the weather out of California is second to none. I promise you that.
So I don't get the low in New York. I get, it's cold half the time. You can't drive half the time. Most people catching the subway, you freezing.
That's correct. But again, you know what I'm saying, you got a lot of people that's just New York like Spike Lee, you know what I'm saying? Spike Lee, you can never see leaving New York.
Right.
He's New York die hard, right? You know what I'm saying? Because he's always been New York, you know what I'm saying? And I think, you know what I'm saying, when you grow up in a certain type of atmosphere, knowing a certain type of environment, you know what I'm saying, it's hard to get you to leave, regardless of prices or whatever the case may be. You just figure this is what it is because it's your norm.
Right.
It's what you grew up with.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? We grew up down south. We grew up down south, so you know what I'm saying, we say it ain't nowhere in hell we gonna do that.
Yeah,
so you know what I'm saying, I get that, but
down here. I mean, I like it slow. I like stuff closed. There's stuff closed at 2:00 out here. You know what I mean? So I like that. I don't need a city that never sleeps.
Yeah. Hey, look. Hey, look, it's different strokes, different folks. That's all it is.
I don't need a city that never sleeps. I ain't trying to go get no pizza at 3 a.m. So, I ain't trying to leave my house 4 a.m. So it is what it is. So I mean, I like to visit. I like to visit, but I ain't. Nah, you couldn't get me to live in New York.
All right, guys, let's do a quick tour of this super cool shipping container home. As you can see, this is a 1-bed, 1-bath, 1-story shipping container home, 8 foot by 40 foot. It's got nice high 9-foot ceilings. We're going to go inside and show you what this looks like real fast. All right, look at this. Beautiful. Beautiful. Let me turn around real quick. Nice big windows, lots of natural light. So there's your front door. Okay. This thing's brand new. It's still got the alarm thing going off. Brand new, guys. So over here, you got your sink, nice big window. Okay, you got your kitchen cabinets, induction stove, microwave. Remember, your stainless steel refrigerator is also included and hasn't been brought in this one yet. Okay, you got your barn door that leads into your bathroom. This thing's fully loaded, guys. Turnkey, move-in ready. Fully loaded. Turnkey, move-in ready. It's more than $69,000, fully loaded. Back here, you got your mini split for your heating and cooling. You can get you a queen size bed back here if you want to. Extra storage up there. Super cool structure, guys. 8 foot by 40 foot. All right.
That's a real estate agent for sure.
Well,
that's got to be a real estate agent.
Not a smart real estate agent. He don't know the difference between a smoke detector and an alarm. So, so you can't be that bright.
Man, look, hey, look, I don't think, he said that shit wrong on purpose. You know what I'm saying? He intentionally called it a alarm, so that somebody will come over there and take a look at that property. I guarantee it, he know that shit was a smoke alarm. But he ain't gonna say that because he's trying to sell the hell out of that property, out of that small property. But here's the thing, in my opinion, I think eventually, that's where things are gonna go, because things are gonna be so expensive. Your regular $30,000-$40,000 a year salary job is not going to be able to get you anything decent. So I think, as time goes on, you're going to see a lot more of those smaller homes that people are actually going to be interested in, because it's more so in their budget and they can feel like they have home ownership. So he sold the hell out of that one. Or at least tried to sell the hell out of that one. But I think anywhere in the country that you're talking about, because prices are getting so high, regardless of where you're at, prices are getting so high, a lot of those smaller 1-stories are going to be more important, and they're going to be more prevalent in the market.
Well, a couple of things that troubles me about that. First of all, you don't have no back door. You'll burn up in that thing. You catch fire. So, how you going to get out of there?
You got several windows to get out.
No, I thought you had, in order for a property, I know in Texas for sure, you got to have 2 doors.
Yeah, but that ain't in Texas, though.
Okay, can't be, because then you got to have a back door in case you can't get out the front door. So you'll sit up in there and burn or something like that. I guess if it ain't made out of wood, I guess it ain't going to burn. I don't know.
Just don't let a fire happen. Just don't let a fire happen. You ain't got to worry about it.
It happen at the front. You doomed. You in that thing. You know what I'm saying? You a hot. That look like a hot pocket to me. So you
have you a sawzone on deck. Have you a sawzone on deck? You know what I'm saying? You can eat your way back out through the back of the shipping container.
Fire has. Then the second part that troubles me is where you gonna put your clothes at. All right, so you got no closets.
Hey, look, anybody on a budget, ain't worried about that. They just want something for their own.
You better be worried about that unless you're gonna be around there naked. So you gotta put some clothes somewhere. You have no room for storage.
Here's the thing, I think, when you're dealing with a certain budget, you're dealing with a certain money group, they're willing to accept less. Less of the bells and whistles. See what I'm saying? Then we
Nah,
would
that ain't-
we already know what status you on, you know what I'm saying? So you want the luxury. Hey, look, you know what I'm saying?
ain't
You
no
want the
question,
closet. You want the closet, you know what I'm saying, with the electric, you know what I'm saying, with the electric clothing thing, you know what I'm saying, where you can send the clothing, you know what I'm saying, spinning
Right.
until you pick what you
Man,
want.
but
You know what I'm saying? We already know that. But everybody don't have that same mindset, B. Everybody a little bit different.
Ain't about that. It's about, man, where are you gonna go? I mean, where you gonna put your clothes? You gonna sleep on top of your clothes? I mean,
Hey, look, you get one of them clothes hangers off Amazon, put it right there next to your bed, hang your clothes up right there.
you sleeping underneath your clothes.
Yep.
Yeah, so
I'm
it's
telling you,
crazy.
it's some people, you know what I'm saying? But look,
the will,
the biggest thing they gonna say is, I own this.
Right.
I own the land that is on, and I own this. I don't give a damn if I gotta put a shed in the back, put my clothes in the shed in the back. You know what I'm saying? I own the land.
Right.
It's gonna be some people that accept that.
I got you. Like I said, that's. I mean, that's gonna be where it's at. I mean, they got the population of the earth. They got too many. They're gonna have to have the shipping containers. I thought you at least have a double wide on that thing, but you know, it is what it is. You know, let's. This next one I gave you a curveball. I mean, not a curveball, but one to shoot arrows at me. All right, let's hit on this one. I want to hear the debate on this.
All right.
You know, so I'll say this purposely.
Sure about at least one thing. Home prices are going up. Let's bring in Diana Olick with that story. Diana?
Well, Kelly, look, as you said, we've already talked a lot about the tariff impact on builder costs, increases on imported lumber, drywall, aluminum, and appliances. Builders will pass those costs on to consumers, but prices on existing homes could rise as well. Morgan Stanley analysts this week noted an immediate impact should be fewer builds and pushing the marginal buyer into the existing market. So that new demand shifted their forecast from 2025 from their base case 2% year-over-year price decline on existing homes to closer to their bull case of a 5% price gain. Now, even before tariffs, the S&P Case-Shiller Home Price Index had been showing a reacceleration in price gains, up 4% annually in January. The expectation had been that mortgage rates would drop and resale inventory would rise. Well, mortgage rates are very slightly lower than where they were at this time last year, nowhere near where they were just 5 years ago, pre-pandemic. Also, they haven't really moved at all in the last month, the start of the all-important spring housing market. As for the supply, it is now 27.5% higher than it was at this time last year. And while that might seem like a lot, it's still nowhere near where it was in 2019, again, pre-pandemic. This is all going to come down to demand, which did tick up at least on the most recent pending sales index. And that demand, of course, will depend on consumer confidence. But again, Kelly, it's just getting less and less affordable to buy a home.
Do they, Diana, spell out if there would be any countervailing, issue technology? You showed us the concrete home the other day that would be perhaps a way of getting around these rising input costs.
Look, there are some. That concrete, that was 3D printed homes, and that's a very small market. And that concrete was all sourced in the U.S. And of course, I've been getting a lot of emails from very niche market building supply people who say we've got this type of, product that would offset tariffs. It's domestically made. It wouldn't have any impact. But look, the vast majority of homes are built with lumber. They're built with cement. They're built with drywall. And much of that is imported. And you're going to see those price increases.
All right, Diana, we'll see you tomorrow. Another firm is.
All right, let's hear it.
Man, look, hey, look, this is your wheelhouse right here. I'm gonna let you have first crack at this one.
I mean, because I'm gonna call cap. I mean, on the whole thing. I mean,
a cap on the whole thing.
Yeah, so I'm gonna call cap.
Oh, B. Let's hear it. You know what I'm saying? Why you call it cap on the whole thing?
Because, like I said, it's not going to be an increase for long, and then you're missing the overall point. The overall point is to drive incentive to actually do stuff domestically, to innovate and stop importing stuff. So the whole it's always a sacrifice to do the greater good. The whole thing is America first. So again, I don't want any drywall made in China anyway. The fact is, a lot of it is because a lot of us want the cheaper materials. But however, we need to go ahead and step it up and start innovating and start looking at other alternatives, just like that shipping container. I'm helping somebody right now do a shipping container development in El Paso. I think that's one of the ways of the future. I think we need to start embracing the old and stuff. I mean, start embracing the new and start getting rid of the old. I got another clip of barn dominium that's coming. Barn dominiums is getting hot right now. Where you're taking the metal buildings and making them like houses and stuff like that. So I think we need to go start doing the innovation and start sourcing stuff in America and start boosting our economy. And that's where it's going, and that's where it needs to be. The whole thing is, if everybody's going to do business, everybody sell their products here, they need to pay their fair share. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. We ain't gonna be America. We're not gonna be everybody's punching bag and doormat anymore. So they need to go ahead and pay up. Start collecting our bread. So and then in turn, we're gonna be richer, and everything will be 100% better again. We're gonna be great again. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how we had it in the back in the 1800s, before they mortgaged everything off. And China had bought up half the U.S. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
How is America going to be great again? You know what I'm saying? If everything is costing double than what it usually costs.
Don't buy goods from China. Simple as that. Don't buy Chinese goods.
So you know what I'm saying? Don't pay cheaper for houses, pay more for houses, but it's better because you know what I'm saying, we're doing it inside the US economy.
Absolutely. Like I give you an example. I use it for my gallery. So this flex steel sofa that's in my office, the desk, all of this is that solid wood Amish table that I got, my barrel set Amish. All that's made in America. My living room is Mayo, that's made in Texarkana, Texas. And man, we do stuff better. So why not support made in America? And I would gladly pay more for it because it's better quality. Why? We showed you that they showed you that a lot of stuff is capped. The same stuff that Louis Vuitton, the same factory that Louis Vuitton making their shit out of is the same one they're doing knockoffs, or Nike and the whole nine. So all of that stuff is cheap child labor. That's what we support. And that's why it's cheap, because children out there making that stuff, and they don't have the same standards. They don't have the same EPA stuff. This hazardous materials they're putting in there. Yeah, it's cheap because they make it cheap. So instead of getting spoiled on what's the cheapest, let's talk about doing it the best. And in turn, it's the same thing we need to do with the Black community, the same thing we need to do with the men. Start spending with us, spend a little bit more, let the money keep flowing, and then that in turn makes the economy better. It's gonna make it great, because all right, we're gonna cut. All right, we had no problem with selling your goods, but pay us our bread. It's like you tax us, we're gonna tax you. So why would they won't allow us to put our stuff out there, but we got to buy all of their stuff? How is that fair? So you can sell all your cars, but I can't sell those Chevys. I can't sell those Corvettes in China. How is that fair? Well, nah, I'm not gonna. We're gonna start taxing you like you tax us.
But you're taxing the American people.
No, not really. I'm gonna guide you to buy that Corvette. Leave that Lexus alone. Well, Lexus made in the U.S., but leave that Toyota. Toyota even made in the U.S. now. So whatever Chinese car that you're trying to buy, leave that alone. Go ahead and buy that Chevy. That's incentive.
The problem is that Chevy that used to cost $20,000-$25,000. You know what I'm saying? Now, because of the tariffs, you know what I'm saying, now costs $40,000 to $50,000, you know what I'm saying?
on
And then the
Chevy.
consumer has to pay for that, you know what I'm saying? That's acceptable?
No, the Chevys are made in America. So, you know.
Yeah, correct. Chevys are assembled in America, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But where are they getting the components from?
They should be getting.
That's the biggest thing. Where they getting the components from? If I got to get an engine, if I got to get spoilers, if I got to get whatever the case may be, whatever it is to assemble the car from China or whatever the case may be, if I got to pay higher for those products, and the car costs more to make, I'm going to pass that on to the consumer.
All right, so let's take it from a different angle.
All right.
Would you rather pay more in taxes and junk fees or pay more for consumer goods, as long as you know that America is circulating in America?
I'd rather pay cheaper for consumer goods.
Right. So you part of the problem.
Anybody would pay cheaper.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? The same house that you could pay $250,000 for, you saying it's okay to pay $350,000 for?
I would pay $350,000. I know it was all American.
Come on, B, stop
it. Yeah, so
stop it. If you had option A, where you know what I'm saying, you had your house built by a builder, you know what I'm saying, that did everything in the USA, and you paid $350,000 to build that, versus another builder that used imports in order to build it and pay $250,000, it's $100,000 difference. There's no way you say, okay, well, look, I'll pay $100,000 more because this is made in the USA. There's no way.
You're exaggerating. There wouldn't be 100,000. You're talking about 5% difference.
No, more than 5% difference. It's it's over 100%. It's a whole over 100% tariff.
All right, so let's not get caught
up. What you talking about, B? How you talking about it's only 5% when it's over 100% tariff?
Nah, I'm talking about as far as past the consumer, as far as goods. You know what I'm saying? That you would incur costs. And then, like I said, half of the stuff you want
B, if you
can I finish?
What I'm saying is, and I want you to address this. What I'm saying is, if you're in business, and for the products that you have to offer to the regular consumer is 150% higher, and you're passing that along, how can you say, you know what I'm saying, it's only a 5% difference?
Where are you getting the number from 150% difference? Where are you getting that number from?
On China, it's a tariff of 130. What is it? 130 or 140%?
The tariff is 150% of what they were paying, not the actual good itself.
B, you know what I'm saying? If I'm paying more, if I'm paying a tariff, and I have to pay the tariff because you know what I'm saying, it's imports goods from China. If I have to pay more, I'm going to pass that along to the consumer. What are you talking about?
I don't think you understand, but I don't want to get caught. You're getting caught up in the setup. The overall arching thing is, it's not what you say. But even if so, let's leave it at that. I give you the 100,000. It's not that, but that's cap.
How is that cap? I think 5% is cap on 150% tariff.
Again, you get caught
5% is cap.
You get caught in the minutia too much. You're missing it when you
How so? How is that?
That's not the overarching point. The overarching point is, yes, I would pay more. You call
if it costs you, B Dix, as an actual business owner, to pay 150% more, and you're only charging the consumer 5%. Tell me that makes sense to you.
No, I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay, let's hear.
No, you switching it up. The first thing when you asked me if I would pay $350,000. $100,000 more. I call cap on $100,000. You get caught in that. Let's go back to the original question. Would I pay? Yes, me personally, I would, because I understand made in America is going to be better. You know, and then if this is an investment that I am with a house, I would rather have stuff made in America than made in China, where it could cause health issues, stuff like that. That's just me personally. And hold on, can I finish my statement, please?
Go ahead.
The reason why the proof is in the pudding. All of my furniture is made in America. You know, so I buy American goods. You know, so all of, you know, like I said, everything I got is made in America. It's either Amish or Bangor wood or Mayo. That's what I own. Jonathan Lewis made in America, California. You know, that's all I have. You know, and I buy into that. So I put my money where my mouth is. You know, so
You done?
Yep.
Just because, you know what I'm saying, you purchase furniture, you know what I'm saying, that's assembled in California or assembled in the USA does not mean all the components are coming from the USA, B. It does not mean the legs is coming from US. It does not mean the leather or whatever material that is coming from the USA, B. Just because it's assembled in the USA does not mean, you know what I'm saying, everything that's built on it is coming from the USA.
Actually,
that's where I think you're confused at, you know what I'm saying? Because it doesn't. There are components that are imported in because it's cheaper.
Not these. Mac made sure that all of these particular vendors that he carried, 100% is made in America. All the components, the legs, everything else. Amish, they make everything from scratch. So they don't import anything. They don't have any computers or anything like that. So most of my furniture is Amish. So they don't import anything. Mayo, I actually got pictures of when I went to the factory. I could show you how they make the legs. I could show you how they make the springs. They don't just assemble it. I went to the factory in Texarkana. He shipped this out there. I went to the I got pictures of all of this stuff. In fact, I might have it on my iPad. I just got to plug it up. So I got pictures of all of this stuff. I used to go with Mac to source the furniture. Jonathan Lewis is made in California. Every single component of that is made in California. Well, made in the U.S. This is what I used to do for a living. I know all of this stuff. So, yeah, I mean, none of it's made disassembled. Now, cars, I don't know. The cars, now, I doubt that why would they get stuff all the way from China? You know, maybe a transistor or something. I don't know. I don't know cars like that. But for the most part, I would say, yes, it's assembled, but for the most part, I would say it doesn't make sense to go way to China unless you talk about some minerals or something, some microchips. You know, and even that from there, I would think they would go to Africa and not China. So I don't know the intricacies, but I do know the intricacies of these furniture. You know, because I've done it. So I call that cap too. You know, it's just not assembled. Yeah, now some of the stuff that you might buy. You know what I'm saying? It might be a symbol, but everything we in fact, I was one of the ones that went on the trips to source the stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I know he was looking for specific stuff.
B, if you got frames behind your head right now. If you take that off, I guarantee you, I'm saying the label's gonna say made in China.
You talking about picture frames?
Yeah, the picture frames right there behind you. That desk right there behind you.
No, the desk made in America.
Okay.
Yeah, my desk made in America. This hutch. I mean this credenza is made in America. Yep. My sofa right there is made in America. My dinette set made in America. My Jonathan Lewis made in America. That my Amish TV stands are made in America. They made by hand.
That chair you sitting in right now is made from America.
Now this right here, this chair right here is from the Netherlands. That's the only thing that I got. But the other chair that I had, my shack chair, you know, is different. But I put that in the other office. But now this one right here, this is a stressless chair. This made in actually in Swedish.
If you believe that, B, you know what I'm saying, I believe you.
What, the chair?
Anything you talking about.
What you talking about?
So you talking about, you know what I'm saying, everything in your house right now, you know what I'm saying, is made in America or not made in China. You have nothing in your house right now that's made from China.
No, I don't know about like knickknacks and stuff, but I know furniture wise, hell no.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't have any furniture made in China.
Okay.
Yeah. I got it all from gallery.
If you said it, I believe you. I hear you.
There's a lie about it. Yeah.
Hey, look, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? The tariffs, you know what I'm saying, is bad on American economy. You know what I'm saying? Whether you want to admit it or not.
No, I doubt it. It's gonna be greater later. Again,
inflation is enough without tariffs.
Nah.
Now you add inflation and tariffs into the equation. You know what I'm saying? And you just heard on the actual news where they talked about home prices going up because of tariffs. And then you still choose not to believe it. But okay.
Yeah, no.
All right.
Yeah. You watch too much of the MSDNC.
Hey, look, that was the video clip that you pulled, boy. You pulled, B. Well, you know what I'm saying? It talked about housing prices going up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That was
But
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Look, nobody is going to come out on the news and pull something, you know what I'm saying, unless they did their research, B. You know what I'm saying? So if they saying the prices of houses are going up because of the tariffs, you know what I'm saying, you still don't believe it.
So,
but that's the video you pulled.
There's no such thing as so. Again, I'm not even gonna argue with you because you get caught in the minutia. Whatever you want to think, man. You know, so CBS didn't get in trouble for editing the video. You know,
Fox got in trouble for the same thing. So what are we talking about?
So you that's negate your whole point. So nobody gonna put nothing on the news unless it's okay.
That doesn't negate the whole point. All I'm saying is that you pulled the video, right? You showed the video.
Exactly.
I don't have control over the video. You pulled the video to say, you know what I'm saying, that housing prices are going up because of tariffs.
You're right. I showed it to get a reaction.
So what are we talking about?
Yeah, that doesn't mean.
So how am I feeding into the minutia and you pulled the video?
No. I wanted to do this for this exact thing to get a reaction, get a debate going.
Gotcha. And that's exactly what you did.
Right.
Because you already knew what that tariff conversation was gonna do.
Right, and that's why I say it to the end. I got two other videos. They got nothing to do with real estate, but I thought it was entertaining, so I'm gonna go ahead and run them. You know, and then we go ahead and end it on that note. Let's go ahead and run this on Boosie. I mean, this one got a little message to it.
You ain't gonna get nothing. Could you bring me some A1 sauce, baby?
Yeah, it's right here. It's right here.
I don't think that's. You sure that's A1?
Yeah, that's the only steak sauce we have.
Yesterday, the other day I came here, they went and found me some A1 sauce.
Right,
that's that new shit they got. I don't want that.
Okay, I'm gonna
Please go check the bag. Ask the manager. I'm a top client here. I want A1. Or I gonna f up your tip. You ain't gonna get nothing. That's A1?
Yeah, this is the A1. This is from the fresh bottle.
I should have made her pull it out the bottom. Still tastes flaky. I should have made her pull it out the bottom. Fine. That little bitch fine. 268. What you think I should have tipped from that fake ass bubble, that fake ass steak sauce? Gonna f up your tip. You ain't gonna get nothing. Could you bring me some A1 sauce, baby?
Yeah,
Let's hear it, man.
Hey, Bootsy funny as hell, man. You know what I'm saying? Bootsy a motherfucking nut. Nah, he funny as hell. Hey, look, I ain't got nothing to say about this shit. You know what I'm saying? When you want A1, you know what I'm saying? You want A1. If they brought it out last time, they'll bring it out this time. You know what I'm saying? Look, you gotta cater to your customers. $236 tip, you know what I'm saying? I mean, well, not tip, but you know what I'm saying? $236 bill. Hey, look, you know what I'm saying? I need to keep A1 on deck. You know what I'm saying? There's no way that you serve steak at any fucking restaurant and not have A1. It just doesn't make sense.
Right. Well, like I said, they had another video too that that Boosie had that went viral about the tipping. He wanted a Coke in a can, a bottle, and they didn't want to get it for him. The first lady didn't want to get it for him, and then the second person, the dude found him a Coke in a bottle. He went down the street, got him a Coke in a bottle, and he got the big tip. And the girl was hurt. Well, it's kind of the same thing. It's like, customer service, whatever the customer want, if you work on tip, and you better hustle to get it, so.
But here's the thing, you know what I'm saying? You can't come in this bitch talking about spending $20. Talking about, you know what I'm saying, you want me to run down the street and get you a bottle.
Right.
No, I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? In many restaurants, you know what I'm saying, you can run down probably next door and get a Coke from the grocery store or get a Coke from the actual corner store that you done paid $1.50 for, and you're gonna charge them $4 or $5 for it. You know what I'm saying? It just makes sense. Just
The manager ain't doing nothing to run the manager down the goddamn street. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, it's all about service. And especially, you know what I'm saying, if you're spending that amount of money inside a restaurant, it makes sense to run down the street, you know what I'm saying, and get that man a bottle of Coke.
Right. Like I said, I don't think, like I said, I wouldn't be. I mean, I guess he want what he want. I mean, I'm cool with it. I just would, I have nothing to really, like I said, against it. I think the actual staff needs to, like I said, be on deck a little bit on point. Like I said, I agree with you. Like how you don't have A1. If you a premier steakhouse, you should have everything for the client. But it is what it is. I got this last one.
Here's the thing, you know what I'm saying? I went to a steakhouse, paid astronomically for a steak, you know what I'm saying, in a well-known steakhouse, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say the name, whatever the case may be, in a well-known steakhouse, and they had A1. So if they had A1, you know what I'm saying, I'm pretty sure, you know what I'm saying, on any rink-a-dink steakhouse or whatever the case may be, and judging by the seats that he was sitting in, you know what I'm saying, you should have some sort of A1.
Right. I would think so. Well, I don't know why I put this one on there. This is
Play it. Let's see it.
Nah, I don't know why I had this one.
I'm sure it's a controversial joint, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead and play it.
Right. Now this is like a comedy, but I don't really have nothing to do with anything, so
okay.
I ain't gonna play this. But I had this one on there. I'm going to play this one. This one, I will while I use the restroom. We'll see what you do in this situation. I don't know if you've seen this before or not.
All right.
So I'm pretty sure you didn't, but
all right,
we'll see if I don't know. You might be online savvy.
Oh! Who the fuck is that?
Mom? Hey, sweetie. You're home early. I thought you weren't supposed to be back till next week. Oh. Is everything okay?
Yes.
Hmm.
Everything is fine.
Why are you standing right there? Oh, she calling her.
Hey, sweetie. How's it going? Sorry I missed your call. You look like you've seen a ghost, girl. What's going on? Baby, what's going on, sweetie? What's going on with you?
I know you used some of them skills and darted out that thing.
I'm shooting off the muscle.
Huh?
I'm pulling that thing out.
What you gonna do? How you gonna do that with it? You don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is, but until I figure it out, I'm gonna make sure myself is in myself and my family is in a safe position.
Right.
That shit is crazy. But I mean, you know what I'm saying? I get it. It's a skit. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the case may be. But you know what I'm saying? Still, it's just like, that's some freaky shit. Somebody end up inside your house and then they call you. You know what I'm saying? It's just, no, dog.
Right.
No, dog. It ain't going down like that.
Right.
You sitting there staring at me, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna be staring at the wireless gun until I figure out what the fuck going on.
How you gonna get the gun? You just you're in the kitchen chilling.
What that mean?
Oh, you got guns in the kitchen too?
Man, look, you better stop.
You know?
You better stop.
Hey.
You better stop. Hey, look, you know what I'm saying? In this day and age, you know what I'm saying? You got to be ready for anything. And that right there, you know what I'm saying? That's gonna get you that, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I got to figure out what's going on. You know what I'm saying? You make one wrong step, you know what I'm saying, right here. Is you know what I'm saying? Is
What if you can't bust out? If it's something supernatural, you busting, you gonna find out, or you just gonna bust till you find out, huh?
I'm gonna bust. Hey, look, I'm shooting you in the leg or something, but you ain't finna come over here, you know what I'm saying, talking about you done made your way inside my house. I got every single right. What you mean? I got every single right. But now, you know what I'm saying, I ain't gonna shoot to kill, you know what I'm saying, you know. But you know what I'm saying, look, I'm gonna make sure, you know what I'm saying, you know, we safe, we good. Ain't trying to hear that. That shit crazy.
Right. You know. So you're gonna find.
But that's a skit though, you know what I'm saying? Ain't no shit happening like that.
Right, but nah, it's a skit called Mama Agnes. It's like a horror film, like, you know. They got a couple of different situations though too. Like I don't want to ruin it for you, but you could Google it, Mama Agnes. They got a couple of situations where the boy pulls something from the club, you know what I'm saying? And he wake up and she, you know what I'm saying, she's zoned out like that, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And like, you know, that boy go to freaking out. You know what I'm saying?
And then call you on the FaceTime too? Shit.
No. It's all I don't know. It's cold because, like I said, whoever directed these got they all like 2 minutes. They all like these little catch things, like, you know what I'm saying? They got, you know, so like, all right, this one like the mama, you know, it looked like the mama, and the mama called her on FaceTime, and you know, and she pull up on them. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's like some scary shit. But this other one, this boy pulled something from the club. You know what I'm saying? She over at the spending the night. That boy turns, she looking at him, you know. She just staring at that boy. And she turned into something. What would you do in that situation? That gotta freak me out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn. You know?
It ain't no way in here.
Yeah.
Ain't no way in here.
So she done turned.
Hey, look, on any other regular situation, you know what I'm saying, she gone. She out of there.
But shit, I think like I gotta go watch them again, but they pretty cool though. They got like about 3-4 different ones, like they kind of similar to that. You know, so I think it's about like the same little group. They put them together. But shit, it's past my bedtime. I gotta pop up. I gotta close in the morning. I got the next few days, man. So shit, we're gonna try it. I don't know if it's gonna be Tuesday. It'll be Tuesday or Wednesday, man. I'm gonna try it for Tuesday.
All right.
All right. So we're gonna see you
later.